All right. What's up, everybody? How you doing out there? Welcome back to the show. This is last week's fights. My name is Thinker St. James, and tonight we are going over each and every fight from UFC 320, Ankalaev versus Pereira 2, taking a look back at Dana White's Contender Series Week 8, and looking forward towards UFC Rio. And to do all of that with me, the man, the myth, the legend, my good friend and co-host, Mr. Chase Parton, who always lasts longer than 80 seconds. How are you, sir?
Dude, awesome. This was definitely a week to remember. Weekend was obviously more memorable than the week, but I'm excited to talk about it. We had fights and there's just nothing else to say. I love to see the chat already here. So shout out to you guys early. I'm gonna go ahead and shout them out, Thinker.
Please.
Beeb, Hydra, TJF, you guys, the guys. Love it.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for being here. If you are
Oh,
new,
and John Dong.
oh,
John Dong. Sorry, before we go on, John
yeah,
Dong.
please. Got to make sure you get John Dong in there. Uh, if you are new, if you're hanging out with us, you're not in the chat, but you're hanging out behind the scenes and are new to the show, we're going over each and every fight from UFC 320, as well as the Contender Series and the upcoming Rio card. So if you have anything that you want to talk about that's not pertaining to those fights that you want us to address, put it in the chat. Remind us a little bit later in the stream, and we will see if we can get back to it because we got a lot to go over today, Chase.
Yeah,
Whole lot.
100%.
So yeah. Well, I mean, starting this thing off, would you like to go straight over to the Contender Series?
No, I actually think we need to detour real quick. Since the
Sure.
chat is popping, they need to understand what we had went through over the weekend. We went to a movie premiere for a
Ah,
movie that had a box office opening at 6 million, which is very low for Mr. Dwayne Johnson. But if you're here listening right now, I want you to understand you should go see The Smashing Machine. And if you are going to go see that, and if not, you should still go ahead and think about watching the video that we had put out called the Smashing Machine Review 2025. So it's a good time, and I love doing it, and I think everybody needs to go ahead and put the time and effort to watch the movie, the documentary, and the stream that followed, and all the other streams that we did talking about the film and the documentary. So
I appreciate you taking that detour to say that because that is all absolutely true. Yes, just to address it point by point, crazy that the numbers are so low for the box office for this film to me, considering that it is a quality film. Probably a number of different reasons for that, and I'm sure that you can digest and try to dissect that in a million different ways. But if you have not seen it and are a fan of films, you could do a lot worse than going to see it in the theater. Support it either way. If you're going to wait until it comes out on home video or whatever, too, that's fine. But I would say it's worth a trip to the movie theaters for it. In addition to that, yes, we are one of the most preeminent channels on YouTube when it comes to the Smashing Machine as an entity, both the current film, the documentary, and the culture surrounding all of that. So you can watch the review that we did of the new one. You can watch the review of the original documentary. You do all of that together. You have an omnibus, a complete understanding of the entire Smashing Machine ecosystem, and then you can supplement that with some MMA on points coverage as well because they did a great job there too. But start with us.
yeah, absolutely. We were definitely the highlight of it, and I tell you, it was maybe the highlight of the weekend up until Saturday. But first, we have to talk about Tuesday. So go ahead.
Absolutely. Let's take a look over at this last week of the Contender Series. This was week 8, and man, this was another really good one with some interesting fights on it. One which stuck out to me very strongly, but we will go through them all, of course. Starting off with Rashid Vagabov versus Paulo Henrique. What did you
Yeah,
think of this amazing performance from a student of Mr. Habib Nurmagomedov?
well, I'm just glad. I'm glad that the Contender Series is so far away, and just it's such a spectacle. So like you kind of forget everything that happens, but then when you see their names, you may not know these people, but when you see their names and you see their picture, you're like, oh, I remember what the fuck these guys pulled off. So yes, Mr. Rashid Vagabov comes in here and is throwing leg kicks and then talking to Dana White. Like he's not really doing much that's impressive, which is really funny. Like he maybe throws a punch that lands like semi clean, and he's like, "You see that, Dana? You see that?" It's very funny. And I remember thinking like, if Enrique actually, if he actually could pull this off, like, because he actually looked very confident and like calm and collected with somebody who's like showboating and really not doing anything. It's kind of easy to get frustrated when somebody's not whooping your ass but acting like they are. So I can kind of see. I saw the idea here. He was composed. Now later on in the fight, he ended up again not doing anything. But Vagabov was more of the story because he was acting like he was the king of the fucking world.
Brother.
And I love Dana once again for being just so real to some of these fighters. Like you're a 7-1 favorite, and you're talking to me, and you're not even finishing the guy. Like so, just a very very funny performance because it's one of those ones where you just know it's like this guy. He thinks he's got it, and he knows he thinks he's got it, and wait till Dana has to just tear him down.
Yeah, and it's funny because not only did Dana tear him down during the contract readings, but he also segued and kicked him again when he went to the next fight. He was like, you're not getting a contract, and then he moved on to the next one. He was like, unlike the last fight, this was actually really good. So yeah, Dana was not happy with this performance. It's one of those unfortunate things because like it was a very dominant performance for Vagabov. Obviously, he was in control the entire fight. Henrique, he needed to be rising to the occasion a little bit more than he did. So it was what it was, but it wasn't dominant enough for a finish. It was just a lot of control, a lot of grinding, good cardio, I would say, but not enough actual output to make it like contract worthy. And like, as you're getting, we know the show so well at this point that it's like, as you're getting towards like the early part of round 3, midway through round 3, you're like, oh yeah, there's no way that unless he pulls some crazy rabbit out of his ass, there's no way that this is going to get a contract. And thankfully, as we've said oftentimes, I have many disagreements with the way that Dana does certain things. When it comes to the Contender series, I think that like 9 times out of 10, he is exactly right with who gets contracts, who doesn't, and then who gets, those secondary things like, oh, we'll call you up if somebody drops out, et cetera, et cetera.
What I think was really telling about this fight was so funny. It's like you watch it for a few seconds, and I personally don't do too much investigation when I'm looking at the screen. I see the numbers, but I'm not paying too much attention. So when this fight started, and then I find out they're flyweights, I'm like, what the fuck? These guys are slow as hell. These guys are not fast or like very skillful. Like these are like you would have thought these were like 45ers kind of deal because they're just like not they're not flyweights. I mean, I know flyweights, and you can instantly tell like these dudes are just fucking they're on another level, and these guys just weren't really it. So
Yeah,
I'll
I'm
tell you
glad.
that.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that too, because yeah, you're absolutely correct about this fight. This was a for flyweight very slowly paced, really mostly because of Vagabov. I mean, like this is why like for a dominant performance, this is exactly why it was not contract worthy, was because you had all of the bandwidth, you had all of the leeway and the real estate to make this your time to shine. You had an opponent who was game enough, but not doing enough back to make it, more competitive than you would need it to be to feel like you were in any kind of danger or any of that stuff. You could have styled on this guy, but no, it was a slow, methodical, plodding pace that ultimately ended in a unanimous decision, but a decision nonetheless, and an underwhelming one at that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this one was just fun to start off with because, it's just a different vibe. A lot of times you either get that war at the start or you get that real boring one to start. But this one was just like, it was just a real fun for the story. He ain't getting no contract, but he gonna think he is. And
Yeah,
we gonna love to see it.
sure. It also like felt kind of like if this had been just an early prelims fight on a regular fight night or a pay-per-view or whatever, that it would have just been like, okay, we just had that fight and now we move on. But like, because it's here, that's always what these fighters need to remember about the Contender series. This is not like anything else you're ever going to experience when it comes to this sport. You have to show out here. Like you can't have a night like that. It says, oh yeah, no, I mean, I did good though. It's like, yeah, but good is not enough. So yeah, so this was definitely story-wise a good learning experience for all of those other future fighters out there. Learn from this fight. A dominant victory is not always going to be enough.
Yeah, 100%.
Moving on to a more dominant performance, though, this is Curtis Campbell versus Demba Sek. Curtis Campbell, of course, from England, always courting the English contingency, and dominant performance for sure here, and a finish to boot. But the thing that stuck out to me about Campbell was the Glasses. Somebody has to explain to me like what this dude's vision deal is, and I'm not trying to meme on the guy. You know, obviously he's got something going on there. I think he has a little bit of a cross-eyed kind of thing going as well. Again, I'm trying to be delicate. I don't want to be an asshole to him, but you know, it's noticeable. But to me, it wasn't even about his eyes. It was the fact that anytime that he would turn to profile, like to the side of his face, you could see just how warped everything was through his glasses. So obviously that is a heavy prescription.
Mhm. No, I actually think you're making a great point. Once you started talking about the glasses, I remember seeing him in the post fight thinking, would he not have been wearing contacts in the fight? Like,
We literally talked about that on the watch along. People were like, "Do fighters fight with contacts? Do they not?" And when I was like, I know for a fact that some fighters do because it's stated in certain rules. Like certain organizations have that in their rule set that contact lenses are allowed. So I think it is like organization by organization, promotion to promotion. But he does not wear contact lenses because he was wearing his glasses all the way up to the cage. So it's like
right.
I I would be a little bit concerned about. I don't know what the actual vision issues are. Is he nearsighted? Is he farsighted?
That's what I was gonna say is,
Yeah,
you could be nearsighted or foresighted, and, if he's gonna be at range and he's farsighted, I don't know. Who knows what the science is behind it? But what I do know is that the Scouse, this guy, Curtis Campbell,
yes.
with a name like the Pink Panther,
Is it?
you
I didn't even hear that. Oh, that's funny.
Oh, we're gonna have a discussion then, because this is great. This is
Yeah,
great. So, with a name like the Pink Panther, obviously you have to be one of a kind. If you're gonna pull that off and be good, obviously, like you can't just be like a shit fighter and be called the Pink Panther. Like obviously, that's the dude on the street calls himself the Pink Panther. Anyway, this dude comes in here, and to be fair, the striking numbers I'm looking at right now, I I honestly thought that they had like a decent flurry before the finish, but you're telling me he did what he did in 7 strikes, and he only threw 9 of them? Like, that's pretty damn good because the way that he finished him, it was not only the timing of the knee, when he was getting up kind of deal, so he wasn't grounded. It was just the impact of the knee that just sent Demba. He didn't go flat, but like he was definitely unconscious midway through getting up, and he fell down and then got finished. And here's the key thing to know, and I think Laura, who brought it up, Curtis Campbell is one of the few, if not one of the only, on uh, Contender Series, of course, to get the walkout song, well, the walk off song after you get a knockout, because they played the Pink Panther music when he walked out. The da dun da dun
nice.
da dun. Yeah, so it was great. I really like this dude. I think the Pink Panther thing is awesome. I mean, I've honestly bought into the aura. I've loved it.
Yeah, go out there and do that, and you kind of write your ticket at least at this stage. Now, granted, I did want to bring up the other side of this because we'll talk about a couple of fighters on this contender series, this event. This fighter Demba Sek is from Senegal. We've talked a little bit about emerging markets in the sport. You're going to have varying degrees of the training and the quality of the training and the conditioning, all of the elements that go into creating a quality fighter before they enter the octagon is going to be a little bit of a grab bag when it comes to the developing markets. So unfortunate for Sek here, as a representative of Senegal, that he's going up against Mr. Campbell, who is from England with a much more rich history of combat sports. So, we're going to have to see, as always, it's always the preface. We're going to have to see how Campbell does when he's against a more experienced level of competition. But for this here right now, he went in there and handled business because this really was like Sek had, I think, maybe a very brief, because I also remember what you were saying, where it was like there was a little bit of an exchange, but I think it was more him trying to get him to the ground, and that's when the problem started, and that's also where the experience gap lied as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought Curtis Campbell did really, really good. It's not that he just finished him and I'm like glazing over his ability to knock somebody out. It's like I think I really saw a decent amount of a skill set that makes me think like this is raw potential that's good. And then once you get more UFC training behind him, he's only gonna get better because, he mixed up the strikes. He finished him without, getting a finish that is not using your hands, per se. decent amount of skill. I'd say a lot of people got to punch people to knock him out. He didn't have to do all that. So I think, and he was shooting takedowns, 2 for 5, whatever you want to say. He was showcasing a lot, and he has a Muay Thai tattoo on his stomach. So cool guy. I like her. I'm telling you, big fan of this guy right here.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? I mean, he's obviously coming from good stock because he's training with the best combat sports athlete out of Liverpool, Darren Till.
Hmm.
So,
You're
not
not
Patty.
wrong.
Yeah, no, no, I mean, he actually is really up there. I mean, everybody would think that Patty, of course, gets that honor, but Darren Till doing some fine work outside of the UFC. So congratulations to him on his successes. Liverpool rising. I mean, is Liverpool the best base for mixed
Yeah,
martial arts? Question mark.
it
Um,
might be as of right now. So we'll see.
at least in England. But yeah, so shout out to Curtis Campbell here, getting the job done in emphatic fashion and making some fans out of the two of us and the chat, it would seem.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, moving forward. This was was it Eliezer? Yeah, Eliezer Kubanza versus Christopher Alvidrez. This one was this. There was a little bit more to this fight. This went a little bit deeper into round one. Alvidrez, I remember, had some pretty good movement, but again, Kubanza, another representative of an emerging market. He's from the Democratic Republic of Congo, also the same place that Mr. Musasa is from, by the way. And I would say that the quality level is somewhat lacking in that region based on what we have seen so far.
Um, that all may be true, and maybe we'll get into it in a second. But my first question is: did you hear the backstory that Christopher Alvidrez had?
Refresh my memory.
I can't remember who it was, but there was some mentorship that just like an actor or something had with him. I forget,
Interesting.
yeah, I forget what it was. It was something they were like some such and such. He's been mentoring him since he was like a young teenager or whatever, and he's been by his side. And I'm like, that's kind of interesting. Like it's just like a musician or an actor. I forget what it was. Somebody in the chat, please refresh me. But either way, what I want to say is this guy very talented and obviously very powerful. What I want to also say is that Mr. Kubanza, he looks scary, and Dana obviously made that point as well. I think Avidrez made that point as well in his post-fight speech, but like this dude genuinely is a scary looking guy. But
Yeah, Hydra making that point as well, by the way.
dude, yeah, this guy though, I genuinely think this is one of these examples where you would say the ref had to stop him because he was going to get himself very, very hurt. This dude was not going to stop fighting after getting just brutally beat down for the majority of the latter of the round. Like this Alvidrez dude was just teeing off on him, knocked him down twice, had him flopping around like a fish. The ref, I mean, it was one of those ones where you're watching and it's like, stop it. Okay, he's still there. Never mind. Don't stop me. Stop. And it was a good time to stop it. Like he was definitely going to keep getting just beat on for because he wasn't just, it was so hard to watch. Like he was giving thumbs up. He definitely was giving thumbs up, but you like punch with the thumb, dude. You can't just give it up. Like, I don't know, dude.
Yeah, no, I mean, and this is the unfortunate nature of the skill gaps that we've been seeing on this season and with this type of dynamic in this fight. Um, Alvidrez obviously a much more conditioned fighter, not just in his physical conditioning, but just as a product in this
Yeah.
sport, so to speak. He's a better construction as a fighter because the tool set was put in place earlier for him. Kubanza maybe not having as much of that, as much molding in the sport just yet. So that is what you will see from time to time is that level of disparity between the two of them. And, Alvidra is doing exactly what he is supposed to do. And Dana even acknowledging during the contract portion saying, you went up against the scariest looking guy on the card and came out, unscathed essentially, or, take a little bit of damage, but not enough to worse
He was
for
on
wear.
crutches walking out, everybody. Let's be real. He was on crutches, hobbling out. So
Yeah. So
whether it was a low kick or whatever, but that scary guy did something. I'll tell you guys.
Yeah, it's slightly scathed, I would say. But yeah, no, but look, he got his arm raised. I mean,
Yeah.
this was exactly what you're supposed to do, and against a guy that imposing. Now, of course, we all know if you're more keyed into the sport, know that the physique does not always equal power, but with this guy, it did seem he was pretty powerful. So shout out to Alvidrez for solving the puzzle and not letting himself get overwhelmed or intimidated.
So we talked about Mr. Campbell's nickname with the Pink Panther. I did not catch this one during the broadcast. Maybe there's a reason they did not say it because it has, in my opinion, little less aura than the Pink Panther. Christopher Alvidrez's nickname is the Newborn.
Okay. Well, I mean, maybe that's going towards what Hydra is was coming in with
With the
reporting for us. Just to catch everybody up who's audio only. Hydra doing a little bit of back behind the scenes producing for us. The backstory of Alvidrez is that he was a 5-star college football recruit, drove off of a cliff and went through the windshield, moved to Miami from California, and started MMA because a fortune cookie said your life will change. So this man, I mean, he made newborn in his move from to Miami, and newborn in his professional sports life. Maybe there's a little bit of a deeper meaning, but on surface level, yeah, maybe not the most aura out of that.
Or for Christian reasons. There you go, Hydra, doing more investigation. But I wish Hydra would figure out who that celebrity was. I can't remember the name, but I thought it was just so. It was an oddball story. Just like randomly, you're just mentored by Chris Angel. It's like, oh, what? Okay, and you're just okay. But either way, so
Is Chris Angel the best base for mixed martial arts?
I mean, it might have to be, but yeah, no, this was a really good fight, really good performance for Alvidrez. But I think I'm gonna have to see a little more. Unlike Curtis Campbell, I don't think I saw all the raw potential and the skill sets. I just saw this dude beat the hell out of this guy. So I don't think. Hopefully, somebody, the next guy or next two guys, whatever it takes, are not going to let that happen, and then we're going to have to actually see him work around a finish. But up
Yeah.
until that has to happen, I mean, send him fucking. I mean, at welterweight, dude, I don't fucking
Oh,
know,
there's a
dude.
million options at welterweight, and
Yeah,
also, for a welterweight, he's a. I don't want to say that he's like small, but he at least seemed to me to be slightly like based on the welterweights that are in the higher echelon of the division, that he might be slightly undersized compared to them. But he moves very well. So I
mm,
mean, as a dude who is in a that middling kind of weight class, he has good range of motion, so he has an advantage even without being like super huge.
yeah, 100%.
All right, now this is the fight that really stuck out to me here as like the big takeaway from this episode. This was Louis Jourdain versus Magno Diaz. Now, of course, Jourdain is the brother of the other Jourdain, the why am I forgetting
Charles.
his first name? Yes, Charles. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Yes, Charles Jourdain. He's his brother. He's his younger brother. And coming into this fight, he looked phenomenal. And I mean, like, this was a performance that stuck out to me as like, I mean, granted, again, you're going up against a guy who maybe not pound for pound, skill for skill going to match up to that level, but the boxing out of Jourdain was just is insanely impressive. I mean, like his short controlled bursts of striking with the boxing and the way that he was mixing up his shots, I was like, there is really something here. And it was getting to the point because this was a third round knockout. And I was saying through
Submission.
excuse me, submission. Well, yeah, it started off, he dropped him and submitted him, but club and sub. But I was saying, towards the middle of the fight leading into the second half, I was like, the only thing that this guy needs to do is finish this fight now to be a perfect Contender Series performance. And then he went out and did it in the third round. So really, this was this is a prospect to watch and could potentially be the better Jourdain brother.
I this performance was good, especially for somebody coming into the Contender Series. But what I will say about what he was doing in the cage, and the what I'm trying to this was a performance that was exactly like Charles Jourdain always puts on. I mean, he always is a very good striker, very creative when it comes to the striking, always trying to do flying fucking knees, and then eventually he gets around to a fucking submission. I mean, he's a striker that just happens to get people choked up because they fucking get dropped or they shoot, and he's able to wrap up a neck or get their back. I thought this was just a vintage Charles Jourdain performance. And why that's impressive is because this is this guy's first professional bout that we've seen against, competition that's close to the UFC level. And then now he's going to go face the UFC level. I just think, if he's able to do what Charles Jourdain is doing now early on in his career, then yeah, he's definitely going to be the better one. He's going to be able to gain more skills and hone in on a lot of things that he's better at. Charles Jourdain is kind of in a weird position in his career, so he's make or break area. Louis Jourdain, if he can do what Charles Jourdain has done with his skill set at where he's at now, he's gonna be fine. This dude's gonna be good. I mean, 3 losses kind of sucks, but I mean, he's good. He's gonna be fine.
To me, it just signals more experience and building up a pedigree for yourself, having gone through a couple of losses coming in with the skill level. I mean, sometimes it's like, okay, yeah, if you have a couple of losses and you haven't really gained anything from it, then that's one thing. But for him, I mean, I think that it really just rounds him out. It smooths off the edges. Now, the one thing I would say is that his brother has been slightly chinny in the past, if I recall. I mean, I think I'm pretty safe in that assessment. So we're gonna have to see how his chin holds up against getting tested by some of these guys who are going to be in there trying to take his head off at bantamweight. But as of right now, we did not see a grand testing of it, so that's going to be kind of the lingering question I would have, because he strikes so quickly that I would be a little bit worried about him getting countered sometimes. Now, granted, you'd think that his hands in motion should at least have a little bit of a barrier to being countered, but we've got some really, really sharp shooters at bantamweight. So there are probably going to be people who will find the openings. So that would be the only thing that I have as a remaining question. Other than that, every other skill set that I saw from him is absolutely UFC ready. Off you go, and we'll see what you can do.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, good deal here for Jourdain. Very nice.
Yeah, no,
One
I
thing
agree.
the last thing I did want to bring up though, real quickly, was that Charles was there with him, and awesome that you're getting the support of your big brother. Love to see it. They're now the first Canadian brother duo in the UFC, so that's a little history there as well. Little note to Charles Jourdain: let him talk, dude. Because
Right.
Charles Jourdain jumped on the microphone and essentially had a whole lot to say while his brother's kind of sitting there nodding along. It's like, dude, this is, he just won the fight. Let him have his little moment on the microphone, because as you have said, Chase, this is not only your audition inside of the octagon, this is also your audition on the microphone. So give the man his shot to do that.
I mean, Charles Jourdain just wants to show you guys that he's still got it on the mic. I mean,
Yeah, well, go out and win in your own fight, and maybe you'll have another shot to do that as
I'm gonna
well.
let you finish, but
Yeah, for real. You never want to Kanye your own brother. You little brother, your own brother.
I honestly, is it too far fetched to believe it could happen? So
Yeah,
who
no,
knows?
exactly. But so anyway, that aside, though, very nice performance for him, and I'm sure we're going to see good things from him in the UFC.
100%.
All
100%.
right. And the final one of the evening here. This was, to me, the feel good story of the evening. I was just talking about emerging markets and that kind of stuff. Now, granted, this fighter does not actually train in his home country, but still representing a country that is very underrepresented in the sport. I think he's the only person to do it. But so this is Vitor Costa. He is from Brazil. That's very well represented. But he was fighting Damian Pinas. And Mr. Pinas is from Aruba. So shout out to Aruba, getting some representation. I had somebody in the watch along who is from Aruba representing there. And he got to see his guy get a very nice win here, because Mr. Pinas is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's saying victory by TKO doctor stoppage, but I think that's confusing me on how this actually went, because I believe from what I saw, this was just a very easy stand up between them. Pinas, he actually has some very good boxing. It's not anything that you've never seen. It's just classic boxing. He really just knew how to throw a really mean combination that put him off balance. He dropped him to the ground, and then I think he just dropped an extra strike on him that kind of, for some reason, he was leaking blood. That's probably what the doctor stoppage is talking about, because when he landed that final strike, I mean, he instantly opened a cut on his forehead and he was just leaking. But it's like he just punched him. It was kind of crazy. But no, Pinas was He was fine. I mean, he showed, I think, more or less what this was for him was the promo audition. Because after the fight, he had a lot to say. He had a lot of different languages he could speak. He spoke very good English. This dude's kind of just a Chad. I mean, he's going to make a lot of fans if he's able to do what he just did another time on a on the UFC stage. I mean, he's going to get a lot of people talking.
True. Now, the other side of all of this, and I appreciate, Hydra's doing some great behind the scene production for us here, but reminding me, because I did forget about this detail. I said it's a feel good story. That there is the darker side of this fight, unfortunately, because Vitor Costa was very vocal about his mental health struggles, and he is an advocate for mental health awareness. He in the past had gone through some really dark times and attempted to unalive himself in the past. So mixed martial arts is the way that he is channeling himself into something better, and he was kind of representing a better path through combat sports for people who might be experiencing similar things, and that's a solid message to have. Unfortunately, he got really badly beat in this fight. So, it's just one of those unfortunate deals here. And hopefully that does not have any negative impact on his mental state. He can come back. He can try again. We've had plenty of people get in on their second attempt, do much better in their second times around. So that does put a little bit of a damper on this thing, because as you had said, Damien over here he's a jovial, happy character with he's the multilingual deal. I mean, a lot of things to like about him. So it's like that was really cool on that side, but it's the thrill of victory and unfortunately the agony of defeat on the other side for someone who was going through some unfortunate circumstances in the past. So
Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, no, this one was it was a fight to cap off the night. I'll tell you that, and it was definitely good. There was a lot of finishes for tonight, so I liked it.
yeah,
Or
absolutely.
well,
This was
for this night, excuse me.
Yeah, no, this was a fun one. I really good fights as we've been having. I mean, again, we keep saying it, but the same note keeps applying. Aside from week one of this season, we've had some really quality events for the Contender Series, and we've got two more to go. So, Tuesday night, tomorrow night, that is, hang out, and we will be watching.
Hell yeah.
Well, that is all of that. But we had a pretty big pay-per-view over this weekend. Chase, did you see UFC 320, which was Ankalaev versus Pereira 2?
Oh, I saw this. I was watching this one live with all of my beautiful viewers over on my YouTube channel.
Of course you were. I was watching with the Vitz King. Finally, the team back together. So this was a big event and a very fun one to get the gang back together. But this was this was something, man. This was a pretty good one. So UFC 320 was Ankalaev versus Pereira 2. It took place at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I've kind of tipped my hand on what I thought of it. Chase, what were your initial impressions of this event?
I'm looking back through it right now, and I think my initial thought of what I witnessed on Saturday was that the last three fights saved what was not a great time.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, let's talk it through, and then obviously, I'll ask the question at the end, and we'll see if we come to the same conclusion. Because
Oh,
I've
yeah.
heard I've heard that assessment from a couple of people, but I do think that there are some pretty decent points throughout this thing, punctuations, I would say.
I can see that.
All right, well, let's get into it a little bit here. So, starting this thing off was definitely not one of those punctuations. This was Veronica Hardy versus Brogan Walker. Yeah, this was not necessarily the fireworks display that you'd want to start off the card.
I mean, is it ever gonna be a fireworks fight with Veronica Hardy? I don't know. She's just never gonna be fun to watch. I don't think people lie to themselves because she's pretty. I think that's what it is. Like they truly believe just because she's pretty that she's fun to watch. But honestly, this is not it. I've seen fun women fight. There's actually a woman that fights later on in this card that I would tell you is honestly a fun performer. But this fight right here had neither of those. So I was just, it was just hard to just understand that Veronica Hardy has been here so long and the best competition that they can find for her that's like worthy for her to beat is somebody that I've just never even heard of. Like,
Well, see, I mean, Brogan Walker has been around in one way or another for a while. She's coming off of The Ultimate Fighter years ago and all of that. So she's technically not a no name, but like the fact that she's a no name to you kind of says what it needs to say about her. And this performance certainly spoke to that as well, because I mean, when we were talking about this last week, Veronica Hardy being what I think she was like a minus 900 or something like that at the time. I think she closed it like a minus 700, somewhere in that range. And we're like, God, you have to really be off of your base to make Veronica Hardy that big of a favorite. But somehow, some way, Brogan Walker pulled it off, because I mean, she really, like, there were a couple of little flecks of things happening for her, but just very inactive, and allowing Veronica Hardy to take the lead and do what she wanted to do, even though it wasn't all of that much. I mean, it wasn't definitely wasn't getting to a finish.
Well, it's just really funny and really telling that Veronica Hardy can get a 30-27, and people will look back on that and say she dominated Brogan Walker. But in every single round of this fight, Brogan Walker reversed the position like right at the end of the round and made Veronica Hardy look like a fucking child. So I don't know, like, if you give her anybody that's like decent, they flip that position way earlier in the round, and then Veronica Hardy sits on her back for the entirety of it. Because that's exactly what Brogan did to her. She literally just like decided she was gonna get up, and she just flipped her over, and then now she was, and it was one of those ones, because I remember sitting here thinking like, okay, yeah, Veronica's got this in the bag. She's coasting. Oh my fucking god, never mind. She's fucking cooked. Like it's instant. Just like she gets like almost fucking eviscerated before the bell ends or some shit like that. Like I just not somebody that I'm ever gonna put my money in.
Yeah, I mean, this was a prime example of why I am so adamant about getting after it early in fights. I mean, Brogan Walker, she's just kind of taking pictures for a lot of the early part of this fight, and then and exactly what you said, she'll reverse, so it's like she's not in danger of necessarily having the fight ended, but if you wait as long as she did to start turning up, this is exactly the outcome that you get. So, I
Mhm.
mean, there was that. There was a couple of minor things I did want to give a little bit of credit to Hardy for. There was one portion early in the fight where she landed those two kicks as Brogan was getting back to her feet. They'd been on the ground, and Brogan was getting herself back up, and she landed two very nice legal kicks when Walker was kind of doubled over, kind of hunched over there. So I was like, that was great awareness on her part to land the kicks and for them both to be legal. So credit where credit is due there. She also almost had the armbar at the end of round one. And we know that she almost had the armbar at the end of round one because she thought that Walker tapped, apparently, and was pretty
Oh,
vocal about it.
that was really stupid. Like,
Yeah. Weird
yeah,
gamesmanship.
yeah, she literally tried to get a free win. We went to the replay. Nothing had literally never said a thing. Never even insinuated that she was gonna tap. And Veronica Hardy is screaming her fucking life out, like ah.
Yeah,
So
Veronica Overeem over here, clearly feeling the tap. But yeah, and that's how you know that it's like, I get. Let me run that back. That's a thing that to me, I think that there might even need to be some kind of like at least a conversation from the organization. And I'll tell you why. The reason that I would think that is because they. You had the production team having to scramble to get replays together, like the commentary teams, like what was she talking about? Like you're creating a situation out of that, and all of that has to happen between rounds. That's a short amount of time for everybody to get all of that together based on you essentially creating something out of thin air. So
mhm.
like I just think that there should be some kind of ding, or at least like a talking to about something like that, because especially when there's no basis whatsoever for it.
Well, if you listen to Hydro real quick, Joe Rogan says it's a veteran move. I mean, that's going to be the only quota that's going around is veteran moves are okay in the UFC. We don't need to scramble. You guys just make the calls on your own. We'll figure it out. Don't worry.
Yeah, super savvy there.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean that's really about it for this fight. Veronica dropped Rogan early in the second round as well, but it was kind of a weird one. She sort of just stumbled back, but it was a
Yeah, the
drop. So
fact they gave her a knockdown for it when I saw the replay. I've seen plenty of knockdowns that they're like, no way, that's a stumble. No, he tripped. You're gonna give Veronica fucking Hardy this knockdown here. All right. Oh, okay.
I'm okay with it. Like seeing it back, I mean, she definitely did like kind of trip herself up in addition to it, but it started off with a shot, so I'm fine. Whatever. You got to at
Fair.
least get. There has to be something in this fight worth value in any way, shape, or form. Sad to say, and I was really hoping that Brogan Walker, being a quote unquote veteran, a person who's been around the sport for a very long time, like that that would have played through. That this would have been a really nice one of those big wide gap upsets here for Brogan Walker. That could have been a nice story for this fight. She comes in, shows that she's defying her age. I think Brogan is 38, I believe. So she's at least somewhere in that range. She's
Yeah,
she's a higher
37.
37. Okay, it's close enough. But it would have been nice to see if she could have come in here and proved everybody wrong. I'm always up for an underdog story in that way, but instead we got a boring Veronica Hardy win, and then we just move on and pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
All right. So with that said, let's move on and pretend it didn't happen. Next up was Ramiz Brahimaj versus Austin Vanderford. This was a little bit of a better one.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, I mean, if you could call it right down the line, I'm pretty sure I knew this was gonna be an upset for Brahimaj, and I think a lot of people kind of felt that. I talked to a lot of people who agreed that it just doesn't make sense for Ramiz to be the dog here. Austin Vanderford, not necessarily somebody that's proven a lot, other than he can beat a very bad opponent on short notice, which is really good. But Brahimaj, I mean, he's just been doing the damn thing. I can't really tell you that he's not, been showing me that he's got hands. Put Mickey Gall out, then chokes out Billy Goff, and now comes in here and chokes out Austin Vanderford. Brahimaj is low-key sleeper as one of my favorites right now. I mean, I dig the dude. He's really fun.
I agree entirely. I think that he is one of those dudes that's bubbling under the radar a little bit, right there below the surface. And when people start to pick up on it, he's gonna take off in a bigger way, assuming he can continue doing what he's doing. I thought that Vanderford, I like him as well. Actually, it's like he would have, theoretically at least, have all of the trappings of someone that I would be a little bit skeptical whether I would like them or not. But he seems like a pretty cool dude, and he goes out to fight. Like, this was a decent performance for him earlier in this fight. I mean, the first half of the first round was a little bit slow. It was a bit of a feel out on both sides, but Vanderford ends up landing a decent head kick and gets a takedown from it. I'm like, okay, he's showing that he's actually out there to do the thing. He's not in here just to take part. I mean, like, I appreciated that aspect of it. Ramiz was seated against the cage for the whole rest of the round, kind of accepting the position. So I was like, that was a little worrisome for me. Vanderford takes that first round. So, things like that is why, my last note of this whole thing was that I was like, I like both of these guys. I hope that Vanderford sticks around, and it was a good win for Ramiz after he finally in the second round, comes out really hot, head kicks, and gets the guillotine set up.
Yeah. No, this was really good. Vanderford is fine. I'm not necessarily a hater, like some other people that we'll talk about, but this guy is, it was just not his time against Brahimaj. This dude is just on his way up. He's another part of these New York kind of these class of New York athletes that are training out of there that are really really good. I'm pretty sure he trains either with Aaron maybe and all them, but I could be wrong. I know they're out of New York, but
Yeah, that might be. I think that might be correct. But yeah, the two of these guys had really good wrestling exchanges in that second round. They a lot of reversals on both sides. They were like, they had that roll through and transition period there, and both were keeping with it. I was like, this is a good competition between these guys. And Ramiz just stayed active with the strikes, and then the guillotine that he ended up getting to finish the fight was really quick, very very sneaky. Setup of the hands, but effective. Got it in there and cinched it up, and it was a pretty quick completion of the whole thing. So I was very impressed.
I'm glad I was pretty vocal about being confident in Brahimaj. I thought this was really good. I'll bring it up again because I'm pretty sure I brought it up last week. There was some random genius on Twitter who said, if you are the better wrestler, but you are the worst striker and grappler, you are going to decide where you lose the fight. Perfect example right here. You might be able to get him down one time in one round. He's gonna get up. He's gonna outstrike you. When you get him down again, he's gonna be able to just cook you with whatever grappling maneuver he thinks is right for the situation. And it was a guillotine this time. So shout out Brahimaj.
There you go. Something that you have stated a number of times and remains true here in this fight. Also thought it was a little bit interesting after the fight was concluded when Ramiz got up into Vanderford's ear and yelled, "You gave me nightmares." I was like, that's
I did
something.
not catch that.
Yeah, it was something commentary kind of picked up on, and I like listened back, and I was like, oh yeah, that he's a bit of a character, I guess is why I just to say that. Definitely the New York in him comes out, but has a pretty compelling backstory as well. Ramiz, he had like a tumor behind his eye that required some pretty extensive surgery, and there was a time where they didn't think that he would be able to fight again for a brief period. So overcame a lot of obstacles to be in here getting wins. So good deal on that as well.
Hell yeah! Shout out Ramiz.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Did
good
he wear
call.
his cone hat this time? I
He
didn't.
certainly did. And he gave it to
Okay,
Joe Rogan and he said, keep
that's
this. And
that's
Rogan said, I've
why.
got several of them now.
Good deal. That's why when I saw him taking the picture, I was because I came back from the bathroom. I think I was like, "Whoa, where's the hat?" But yes, that makes sense. He gave it to Joe.
Yes, indeed. And Joe with his little nipple hat was very nice.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the next one here. This is another kind of lower point, I guess. This was Farid Basharat versus Chris Gutierrez. What I said about this is what I was saying on the watch along watching this. When Gutierrez cannot get his kick game going, he just does not have a plan B. And nowhere was that more apparent than in this fight. I mean, like his striking with his hand striking is just not there, which is amazing at this point, considering that he is 22, 7-2. This man has been in a lot of fights in his time. You would think that, using his hands would be something that he'd be a little bit more proficient with, but he is just Mr. Kick. And when he cannot be Mr. Kick, it does not go his way.
This fight sucked. This is a 14-0 prospect against somebody who's a minus or a plus 400 dog. That I should be seeing smoke session. Like, what are you doing for Rebash? Right, you're supposed to be one of these brothers that are coming up. That they're supposed to be very highly touted. We already know the Bomb Fiend brothers are frauds. We know your brother is a fraud. Now we just watch you get a boring decision against a dude who is very finishable because you held him down for a decent amount of time, and I'm pretty sure you're a grappler. So I don't know. This is just tough. I will say Basharat's striking did look fine, but that's just against Chris Gutierrez, who is doing nothing. So I don't know. It's hard for me to say that I'm a Basharat fan. I was going against the other Basharat bro against Simone, and that did not work. So I'm not putting too much stock into this one either.
Yeah, I can see it. I mean, this was very low activity in the first round until Basharat gets the takedown on Gutierrez, and Gutierrez just accepted the fuck out of it. That would have been a prime opportunity to turn this thing exactly where you want it to go, and didn't really take all that much advantage of it. I mean, there were a couple of decent clean shots in the second round from Basharat in the stand-up. Gutierrez was just a mannequin. Again, this is another fight where you have all of the real estate in the world. Like if you are aware, like this is a great example of where watching tape on your opponent can come in handy to the nth degree, because if you know Gutierrez, you know his game plan forwards and backwards. It's a very one-dimensional game plan, which is why I was saying if he doesn't get his way, you've got all of this free range to do whatever you want, and this is what Basharat ends up doing with it. It did ring a little hollow.
Yeah, I mean, there's just not really much else to say, to be honest. I mean, I could have told you that Chris Gutierrez was going to put on a lackluster performance. He always does. He's never somebody that you can consistently count on. He might have a one-off good performance, but that's the reason it's called inconsistent, is because he won't do it again. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he did turn up the striking a little bit in the third round. He knew he was down 2 rounds, but that's where the hand striking element of things came into play, and it was just not great. And then he ended up kind of gassing out towards the end after putting that effort forth. So Basharat ends up getting another takedown. That was about it, really. I mean, Gutierrez did have a nice reversal when he would shook him off of his back, but really not too much doing. I mean, you say Basharat did nothing, but I mean, he did go for the Rolling Thunder in the second round. That was something.
Yep, he did do that. And yeah, this fight was still ass.
It's only goofy if it doesn't work, but it needs to be paired with a whole lot of other cool stuff for it to be like, man, Andy went for the Rolling Thunder,
True. Yeah, Justin Gaethje threw a bunch of hooks, and he did the Rolling Thunder.
Right, exactly. So Farid Basharat gets the win. 2-1 Basharat made sense to me. Gutierrez might have taken that third round. That's fine, but Basharat stays undefeated. I think that you probably would agree with me in saying that Basharat may not stay undefeated for very much longer.
Just give him Malcolm maker right now.
I like it. There you go. Yeah, that'll be a real easy way to finish that. But yeah, there you go. All right, well, let's leave that one in the past and move on to the next one here. Macy Chiasson versus Yana Santos. Now, Chiasson missed weight by not a terrible margin, but enough. I mean, she missed weight by 2 pounds. This is the fourth opponent, the fourth time that Yana Santos has had to fight a woman who has missed weight. And Yana Santos was not too happy about that. She took to Twitter to voice her, her frustration with that. And commentary was really trying to play up that she was fighting angry. I guess you could see it a little bit. I didn't necessarily think that it was all like they were making it out to be, but I'm sure from Yana's side, it does kind of suck to have, four opponents all missing weight on you.
I mean, it's not even about how many opponents have missed weight against Yana Santos. This is specifically about Macy Chiasson missing weight in her last two bouts.
True. Very true.
So what is going on with her? You're at the bantamweight. You know what's crazy about Macy Chiasson? When you look at her, she's very slender. She's very slim for a bantamweight woman. Kayla Harrison has successfully made bantamweight weight 2 times in the last two bouts. You have made it 0 times in the last two bouts. There is no fucking excuse. Like, seriously.
Well, I mean, and this also goes to the exact conversation you and I were having on the last episode. And I was agreeing with you entirely that it just seems that Macy Chiasson, something is just off. And like we thought it might have been a one-off in her last fight. She did very poorly in her last fight. We were both hoping that she was going to come into this fight renewed, restored, a little bit better condition, a better acumen to go out there and actually win the fight. And not only does she miss weight, like you said, which is completely unacceptable, especially twice in a row, but did not really have much success at all. It seemed like she was very apprehensive to get in there and start doing what she needed to do until the very end of the fight as well. So, I mean, this is kind of similar. We were just talking about that with Chris Gutierrez turning up in the third round. I mean, this was not very much different. And when you have Yana Santos on the other side, who a person who's, we're talking about defying your age, Yana Santos is up there as well. I believe that she is 38, I think. And what I said about her, I'm like, it's unfortunate that she is only now really coming into her own, because this is like a couple of performances in a row for Yana Santos where I've thought that she looked really, really quality, like very, very skilled, kick game on point. Didn't even have to do as much kicking in this fight, but still did it. A lot of knees. Yana Santos is a very skilled mixed martial artist. She's just a little bit old for the game at this point. I mean, all of that being said, with that dynamic, Chiasson, like, she needed to go. Like, there was none of that.
I think what the main issue, and it's going to go back to the weight thing again, is Dana White sincerely needs to get a grip on the tough alum. They just feel like they can get away with whatever the fuck they want. Chiasson, Brian Battle, Kelvin Gastelum, the list can go on and on for these people that have been a part of the system, and they're veterans. They're supposed to be professionals, and they just seemingly forgot how to get on their weight. Like, I don't get how this is a continued thing. What is happening that Dana White is allowing this to happen? Like, they're not that special of people. To you, they are, Dana, because they're bringing you TV ratings that 1,700 people in America have watched. But it's a serious issue when they can just get away with whatever the fuck they want. And I know Brian Battle got cut, but honestly, Chiasson probably needs to as well after missing it again. And then I don't know, she just don't have no fucking problem with it. It's whatever.
It is very interesting that is a through line for the Ultimate Fighter alum. That's an odd kind of, it feels like it might be a coincidence, but it's like you get so many coincidences, then it's like, where's the pattern, right?
Yeah.
Not only, you're saying, two weight misses and then 2 losses. What I had said on the watch along was that, it goes back to the idea that, like, if you're going to miss weight, it can go either direction. Like, sometimes you miss weight and you're just not really taking the cut seriously, and maybe you come in with that a little bit more comfortable, a little bit, not having to rehydrate, all of those things, not an issue. You come in and you can win the fight that way. The extra weight helps you out. other times you miss weight and it could be a detriment. There could be problems with the weight cut. You could be sick. You could be injured. There's a lot of different reasons for that. This is now twice where it would seem, if at least if that's the reason, or there's something else I don't know about it, but they're 2 times in a row now missing weight and losing. That's you're really doing yourself no favors with this Macy Chiasson, especially after having had some decent success. I mean, there was a time not very long ago where I was thinking Chiasson might be potentially a contender here. Not anymore.
Yeah, I remember you saying just that. I actually also remember way back when I said specifically that when I first saw Yana Santos fight, I thought, wow, we have a really good prospect on our hand. Key is, she's 37 years old, 38
Right.
years old, whatever it is. But proving once again that I just know sometimes Yana Santos is really fucking good. I mean, Chason is just damn near. I love when you used to call them mannequins because that's really what they end up doing. Is they just end up deer in the headlights, taking pictures. Is another good one that you have. And Yana Santos, she kind of reminds me of Manon. I really think her striking is very Manon Firo. She does a lot more kicks, not in this one like you said, but what I really think she is just like a hard nosed kind of. She's ready to just brawl. I do kind of like Yana Santos. She really does get my respect.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is, of course, Yana Santos now. She's been around for a long time. I remember her as Yana Kunitskaya, and that's what kind of what goes back to what I was saying before, where it's like it's unfortunate that like she's been around for so long and just now is like really starting to come into her own because it is just a little bit late in the game for it. I often am the one to say women do have a little bit more of a window there. So maybe there's some potential for her, to continue on. But like, I feel like this, like, well-roundedness that she has now, if she had gotten to this point at like 32, then the conversation could be a lot different surrounding her. But either way, continue to rack up the wins, and I will continue to be very impressed by them. And I will also continue to laugh when Macy, who, finally in the second half of the third round has some decent success. She ended up getting the rear naked there towards the end. And, shout out to Yana for staying calm, composed, not letting herself get flustered and making it to the horn. But after all of that, Macy gets up and starts emoting like she didn't just lose 12 and a half minutes of the fight leading up to that exact thing.
Yeah, you love to see it. You love to see delusion classic from the tough alum. That's just it's built into their DNA. Missing weight and thinking that you've won a fight when you've completely lost. So
Yeah, absolutely. And also being very accepting of the tie clinch, very too comfortable in the tie clinch when Yana was working her over in it. She did not throw a whole lot of kicks in this fight, but she did throw a lot of knees, and Macy was trying to keep up with her knee for knee. That was never going to work.
Myron Santos is another tough alum that is missing weight. So
You're cooking with this one, bro. I mean, this is a pattern that I don't know if many people are picking up on, but I mean, that's legit. Look, I mean,
yeah.
you just named 5 of them within, that's just off the top of your head. So I mean, that's, maybe there's some investigating that needs to be happening over here as to why it's always these tough guys and
Yeah,
ladies.
I agree. I agree. Somebody out there, make your video.
Yeah, there you go. Indeed. So either way, though, another nice win for Yana Santos. And I mean, if she's going to do anything, like if she has any greater aspirations, like to move up in the rankings, like I really hope that they give her the opportunity to do that at this point, because like the time is definitely now.
You know what I also would like to say is that every time Yana Santos wins, she gets into her little winner circle and she puts her arm around this dude that looks just like that guy John Jones fought. Like I don't know.
Well, yeah, wasn't going to bring it up, but that is a fun element of this. Of course, Yana Santos's husband is Thiago Santos. So when Yana found out that Chiasson had missed weight, she put a tweet out saying that like Chiasson is disrespecting the sport, right? And my response to that was, it's like she's not wrong, but you might want to talk to your husband about disrespecting the sport, considering that Thiago has had his sips off the juice box, if you know what I'm talking about.
Nice. And I actually think that I've brought it up before. Is like she's probably tested the juice herself.
And
Since it's in the family. Whatever you want to say.
yeah, the couple that juices together stays together. I don't know. I mean, that's wild speculation, but anyway. So, all right. Well, good win for Yana though. So keep on keeping on, I guess. Next up, Punahele Soriano versus Nikolai Veretennikov. Now, what I had said going into this fight is that Punahele does not have to be the best. He does not have to be elite. All he has to do is be better than this terrible dude Veretennikov, and everything should be fine. And that is exactly what happened here, even considering, and I thought that this was very scary coming into this fight, John Anik on commentary, top of the fight, saying Punahele, not the biggest self-believer, but gaining confidence. I was like, oh no. That is, he's saying that in the pre-fight interview that he's not believing in himself. That does not bode well, but still got the win though.
I don't think this fight deserves a conversation or at least a large portion of a dialogue, because there was two things that happened in this fight. Punahele picked him up. Punahele sat him down. And then actually, if you want to add a third thing, he laid on top of him for the 14 minutes or whatever it was. This fight was just so fucking bad. The whole first round was Punahele in half guard, Veretennikov not moving an inch. Punahele not producing enough that makes the ref even question if he can stop it or break it up. And it was just a very stalemate for the first two rounds. Then you have this weird moment. I think it actually happened in the second round where Veretennikov just reverses the position and then just almost fucking finishes him instantly. And then we get right back to the same position where Punahele's back on top. It was like in 30 seconds, you watched Punahele almost sell the entire lead that he just had, almost get finished, and then get back to the lead that he had. It was a very weird fight, but this also was a terrible fight. Oh my goodness.
Well, I mean, this is the classic "it takes two to tango," but this is when both of them are not great. This guy Veretennikov, I mean, we've been saying it for a while, and if you go back, listen back to some of the old episodes of this show. The exact thing that I said is that it was unfortunate that he won his last fight because it's going to give anybody the impression that he is UFC caliber, which he is not. Now, going to your point, the reason I say all of that is to say this Veretennikov guy went for the guillotine. He jumped guillotine 4 times. Punahele slips it 4 times.
Yeah.
No water from the dry well, you dope, is what I was saying. I was like, this dude, like, talk about a million ways to get yourself right back to the bottom. I'm just watching this time and time again. You're exactly correct. This was not a great fight from an entertainment standpoint, but it certainly was a masterclass in wet blanketing from Punahele because that's all he had to do, except for that one instance you mentioned where he got reversed and then re-reversed. So it's like, and Hydra had asked in the chat a little bit earlier about like, listening to the corner and like, like what are the impressions of like either fighters not listening or or pushing back on the advice. I thought that when it comes to a fight like this, I thought that Veretennikov's corner was doing the best that they could because they were like, there was the one time that they stayed with the corner in between rounds, and he was getting hammered by his corner. He's like, dude, you need to knock this guy out. Like you're not doing the things that you need to do. You're letting him have free reign over where the positioning of this fight is taking place. You need to go out there and let your hands go. And then true to life, Veretennikov just takes that information and tosses it out into the ocean and gets right back underneath.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, this one just doesn't even deserve to have a conversation about because there's nothing to take away for either of them. I mean, Veretennikov, take him away, specifically, take him away out of the UFC. Punahele, a welterweight dude, no, nope, just never.
Yeah, I mean, he is on a 3-fight win streak now, so it's like, okay, that is good for him. And maybe this newfound self-confidence will lead him towards something better. He is training out of Extreme Couture, so they've had some pretty good successes there in the past. I know you've got mixed feelings about them now with that, but regardless, Eric Nixick, I do think is one of the best coaches in the game. So again, we don't have to go down that road necessarily, but either way, the point is that he is from a team that has produced good quality at some time. So it's like if you're going to surround yourself with, like we're talking about the emerging markets on Contender Series, it's like they don't have the advantage of that. He has all of the advantages that you could possibly have when it comes to training. So maybe there's some potential for him going forward, but it certainly is not this. And being better than Veretennikov should be a foregone conclusion. I couldn't agree more. Get this guy the hell out of here. We're saying that from the Vanderford fight. Get this guy out of here.
Well, he missed weight in the Vanderford fight too, so he was already on the shit list. And then, against Prado, I mean, not necessarily the greatest performance and not necessarily the greatest opponent, but it seemed like they wanted to keep you around. After this performance, I mean, surely they have to understand that you're just not that guy. Just not that guy.
I mean, and we were just talking about like welterweight as far as like the caliber of fighters going up farther in that division. I mean, if you think that you're going to be able to hang with any of them with any of this shit, dude, I mean, good lord, you're going to get smoked every day of the week with this. So
Absolutely.
unfortunate, but yeah, the big takeaway here is please, for the love of God, get this Veretennikov guy out of here because nothing good comes from a Veretennikov fight.
I agree.
Yeah. Between rounds, between rounds of this fight was when Joe Rogan and DC were heaping some glowing praise on the Smashing Machine, by the way. So I did want to just reiterate, if anybody who is just joining us or joining us recently to this stream, if you have not seen our reviews, go ahead and give those a watch and go check out the movie as well, of course.
Yeah, I actually do remember them talking about it. I can't remember what they said at this moment, but I remember thinking like, that's good that they said something about it. That's cool.
Yeah, Rogan was just, saying how much they transformed The Rock into Mark Kerr and the makeup and the prosthetics and stuff, and DC was basically just saying it was a good movie. So yeah, I mean everybody that I have heard talk about it has said it is good. You know what I mean? Like,
Actually, it's funny you bring that up. I came across some people talking about it on Twitter, and I went through like the thread chain. A lot of people really genuinely just giving it a good review. And
yeah.
I can tell you for fact, guys, they ain't pay me shit. So
Right. Yeah. Exactly. We are unpaid. We are objective observers of this. We are going in with our opinions as our own, and both of us, Chase more so than myself, but both of us will let you know if we are if we don't like something. So
yeah,
if that was the case, we would certainly say it. Not the case with the Smashing Machine.
but it is the case with Veretennikov. So I'm very happy that we're done talking about him.
Indeed. Thank you for bringing it back around, and I could not agree more. Let's move on. Moving on to the prelims proper here. This was Edmund Shabazian versus Andre Muniz. Now, I had forgotten during our discussion last week that Muniz was the dude who got knocked out by a tap shot from Ikram Alaskirov in his last fight. I was like, when somebody in the chat had mentioned that, and I said, this dude is knockoutable. So this conclusion was very satisfying for that reason.
It's so hard for me to confidently say that a person who's just on a big first round knockout streak, that he's just going to continue doing it. But I fed into the hype on this one, and you can see just how risky it was because for the first 4 minutes and 52 seconds, he did fuck all. He did fuck all. Edmund Shabazian did nothing to Andre Muniz. And then with like 12 seconds left in the round, the magical jab that Andre Muniz just can never evade, just staggers him, gets him off balance, and Shabazian goes for the kill. And what he actually does have that killer instinct. I will give it to him. He's ready to finish the fight in the first round. There's no round two for this guy. But brother, if he would have survived 2 more seconds, you were going to be tired. I tell you that because you left it all in that first round. And shout out to you for getting me some money, getting the slip paid off with the first round knockout, whatever you want to say. But like, dude, can you do it 4 minutes earlier? 4 minutes and 58 seconds is nuts. I was shitting myself, dude. Like, come on.
Yeah,
So,
no, you're absolutely right. This was another slow start. There was an early knee from Edmund, followed by a lot of feel out and a decent amount of clinching as well. So, yeah, once he finally did get it, once both of them, I guess, got into the groove of it a little bit more, it was Muniz going for that takedown, but did not get it. Shabazian ended up getting back to his feet. A good job of him to break the control. I was like, a lot of times, we talk about accepting the position on the ground. I feel like a lot of times guys accept the back control as well a little bit too readily. So Shabazian not letting that happen, and then left hand was easy. I mean, it was, sadly to say, I mean, this Andre Muniz, man, like this chin is really questionable. And they were talking on commentary about all of his ground game, and I'm sure that he's got decent skills on the ground if he can get it there. But if he can't, he is really exposed when it comes to the glass chin element of him. And it's been showing time over time now because that left hand was an easy shot. It really was not, a crazy power shot. He didn't set it up like Ilya. I mean, this was just a swiping shot that landed, and Muniz was seeing stars. So, that is what it is.
it definitely is what it is. Edmund Shabazian, I mean, like I said, this dude is a round one knockout machine, but it's just not going to last forever. You're either going to get to the certain point where it doesn't, or you're going to get knocked back down and then you can keep doing it, or you're going to get to a certain point where you're going to not knock people out, but you're going to stay floating in that top level area. But then you've lost your greatest asset is your knockout ability. So you're probably not going to be able to win with all the other skills that you have if you keep floating around the top. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, we've seen mixed results for him. You know, he's been around for a long time. They were talking about that too. You know, he started at 20 years old. He's 27 now, I believe. So this is a lot of experience that he's been racking up over this time. And it's like he's just another one of those guys. And I say it very often, but it's like a lot of the pieces of the puzzle, but just not the entire picture necessarily, is what it feels like to me. But he has been doing this decently enough recently. So it's like maybe there's still some time for something better out of Shabazian. Time will tell, I guess, is really all I can say. Because it's like what we've seen up until that point, it reminds me of Chase Hooper, you know, where it's like you've seen a lot of like the young era of that fighter. And maybe this is like the second phase, you know, like the second chapter of the career starting, or, you know, or they're already in it a little bit. So it's like maybe there's still further evolution to happen, perhaps, but it remains to be seen. And you know, a couple of good wins, it's like you're always waiting for that other foot to drop when it comes to some of these guys.
100%.
So good one here, though. Unlike this one, now, okay, we got to talk about it. This is Patchy Mix versus it's a Jacob Wickwatch, I believe is how they were pronouncing his name. Another one of
I
these.
don't even fucking know, bro. I know he's Polish and a dog, so
Yeah, Vic Fosh. Somewhere along those lines. He's a KSW guy. If you saw my watch along of KSW, you know that Polish names are amongst the craziest when it comes to pronunciation. But yes, I mean he is definitely a dog. But like to me, the story of this has to be Patchy Mix. I mean, what I said about this, Patchy Mix might go down as the worst quote unquote high level guy to come over from Bellator in the history here. I mean, like we've seen a number of them now, and a bunch of them have not had great results. We've had a couple with more better results than others, whatever. But like when it comes to this Patchy Mix, I've never seen somebody with a credentialed record like his have this much of a problem with a guy who, you know, I mean, granted he was a KSW standout, so it's like it's not like he's coming straight off the Contender series or anything like that. But you'd think that the disparity would be a lot greater than what you're getting out of this, and now this is a repeat offender in Patchy Mix.
I would just like to start off by saying that there are a certain group of people, I'm not one of them, but there are people out there who are very upset and think that Patchy Mix was robbed in this decision.
I have heard that. I have heard that. I don't agree.
I definitely don't agree. I thought this was. I mean, if you want to give Patchy the last round, sure. The fact that one judge gave him 2 rounds is pretty absurd because Jacob is honestly really fucking good. I mean, we talked about him as if he's a nobody. I mean, he's a nobody to us, but knowing that he is a KSW champion or former KSW champion, it did give him a little validity. Like, okay, we have a Bellator champ going against the KSW champ. This makes sense to see who's the better of the bottom tier promotion kind of guy. Jacob really put on a fucking good performance. I don't care about the control time that Patchy Mix had. He did, dude. What also was nuts? Oh my gosh, the craziest part about this fight, and the reason Patchy Mix is so fucking shit, is because he lost 2 rounds. In the third round, he's winning. He knows he has to get a finish. Apparently, he didn't because he just wants to fucking nut hug for the last 30 seconds.
No sense of urgency is just in big capital letters in the notes. I'm
Yeah,
like, dude, you're exactly. I mean, what I had said about, okay, just to backtrack just a
yeah.
little bit. What I had said about the outcome of this fight is I would have been okay with a draw. Actually, I think that that the second round was very close. It did go. There was some decent two-way action there. First round was pretty easy to Jacob. But yeah, the second round, I thought that there was at least a case on both sides. So it was like if it had been a draw, I would have been okay with that aspect of it. Split decision win for Vic Lost or whatever is that's also still fine with me as well. But yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, when it comes to trying to actually win the fight, it just never seems like Patchy Mix is doing that ever. Like there's no time where he has any urgency at all in the fight, especially when he needs to be doing it in the third round.
And it makes it worse because if he was one of these fighters that did have killer instinct and he could find a late finish, that'd be all good and well because it would make the rest of what his style and skill set, it wouldn't make it look as bad because dude, he is genuinely one of the worst in the stand up. He just stands there, no head movement, no hands near his face, just gets punched like uncontrollable amounts of times in his face. He doesn't block his face. He also doesn't block his stomach. Jacob was killing him with the teep kicks and stuff to the stomach, especially early on. He's just spammed him like three back to back to back and then just popped him with a jab. And what does Patchy do? Just walk forward. Like he's got like the zombie style, but it doesn't work because he's not like throwing back. He's just getting his ass whooped.
He's
So
so stiff. I mean,
yeah,
like it's very strange. I mean, like you like again with the amount of experience, like it really, I on the watch long, I'm sitting there like questioning. I'm like, who was this guy fighting in Bellator? It's like the stiffness that you see out of him is something that is like you think could not be effective.
bro, he used to call out Sugar Sean and Marab. Like it genuinely is fascinating the level of delusion that you can get in this game because you got to think about it. Patchy makes when it comes to professional bouts, okay, he's not going against the top competition, but when it comes to training. He is certainly training with the top competition. It's all the same people when it comes to the top. They get their sparring partners, and that's what they do. Patchy Mix, if he wasn't delusional, he would have known that his skills are not on the level of the people that he had been training with, and I, I don't know, bro. There's
Yeah.
just no way that it looked different on the mats.
It's funny that you mentioned that because my very last note of my list was the cut Patchy and force him to listen to his old Bellator interviews where he said he could hang with Sean O'Malley on repeat for all eternity.
Yeah, literally, this dude, I I feel bad for him too because like, you know, there's confidence and then there's just being a little cocky prick, and like this dude really just came off as a little cocky asshole, like and he didn't live up to it. It's one thing to come out here and knock heads off and just tell everybody that you're going to do it. You can be an asshole if that's you, but brother, you're a submission guy that has never once made me believe that you have grappling of the top level. So
Well, and that's also what I was kind of leading up to as well. Got a little deviated, but like when I was talking about the stiffness of his stand-up game, it's like it's amazing to me that could be effective as a striking base, and then also that you could actually transition that to be effective as a grappler. Because it's like to be that stiff standing up, like it doesn't seem that you would have any bodily flow in the other areas of mixed martial arts. But whatever.
what I would say to that is that most of the time he most likely was getting whooped and ended up on the bottom and then his grappling came into play, or it went to the clinch, and I'm pretty sure I've seen this dude pull a triangle from like the clinch cage side position. So it's
Yeah.
probably something along those lines because there's just no way. This dude's never shot a double leg. He's never grabbed a single. It like he only just walks forward until you're close enough to grab. And if you have somebody who can just stay on the outside, like Jacob was doing great. He butchered him for 2 rounds, made me believe that Patchy Mix is shite. So
Well,
he
yeah.
actually won.
And to that point, when it comes to Vic Watch, I did want to say that he is definitely a grinder. You know, I mean, on the ground, really doing some nice work, striking really sharp early in this fight as well. I would like to see a little more volume out of his striking earlier, but you know, first time in the octagon, I think that you can give him a little bit of a pass. But on the ground, doing some really nice work, taking Mix to task. You know, doing the damn thing down there on the ground. That ground elbow that he landed on Mix's eye. Did you see that picture that came out later on of Patchy's eye after the day?
I think I saw the picture of them together, and he did have a black eye, but I forgot. I didn't think I saw an elbow at the time.
Well, there was, I mean, I don't know if this was from something else and people were just trying to pass it off or whatever, but there is a shot of Patchy Mix with his eye just is huge with the
Mhm.
swell up of that after that elbow. So obviously that was affecting Patchy throughout the fight. Even that it didn't look like that bad in the moment, you know, they got the compress on it and all of that, but like I'm sure that could not have been pleasant. The one thing I did think for Viklash, I would say, is that he, much like Veretennikov, needs to stop jumping Gilly. This is the UFC, brother. That is not going to work. But aside from that, I mean, really, as you had said, quality performance for a newcomer. Definitely deserved to be in this slot. And on the opposite side of that, it goes to show that Patchy Mix, sadly to say, I mean, like, I really wanted to believe otherwise, but like, if you put Patchy Mix in against a higher level guy starting off, and it's like, okay, he doesn't have success there. You put him in against a guy who's making his UFC debut, even if he is a high level KSW guy, and he still has this type of performance. It ain't it. That ain't it, brother. I don't know what else to tell you.
This was a great performance. I do remember Jacob jumping Gilly like so many times, and that was really funny too because it makes Patchy. That's like, I know Jacob wasn't doing it in a way like this, but that's like a fan service move. It's like, dude, he's just gonna fucking jump Gilly all day on you, Mister Grappler, and what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do about it? You're just gonna keep your head right there, and you're gonna just go sit on top. It's just, I don't know. It's just kind of funny in a way that, like, if you jump Gilly 7 times, I mean, kind of funny. I mean, you just genuinely don't understand that you're not going to get it, but you don't care so much that it's going to get you to the position that you're wanting. So go for it.
That is, man, we could not have scripted a better transition to the next fight. Did you have anything else about this one?
No, no.
Okay, well then, if you wouldn't mind indulging me for a moment here, Chase, I have a little bit of a something I wanted to kind of read out here based on this fight. This is Daniel Santos versus Jusang Yu. Um, I'm very vocal about not liking showboating, right? That's something I've said on the podcast many times. I there are a number of reasons for it, but showboating, I have a strong negative reaction to it. This fight right here is a masterclass as to why you should not showboat. So if you would let me just get through this, and then I will open the floor to you, and you can say anything that you want thereafter. But I'd like to get this out because if I read it out through, you'll see why. All right. Now, preface all of this by saying Santos did miss weight by a large margin. This was
These are bantamweights, by the way. This was a 153 catch weight.
Yeah,
this dude was not making weight even close to it. Like,
yeah, and I mean that is a very big asterisk to all of this, because it's like, that talk about unprofessionalism. This, just throw that out the window for this one. But so have that in mind as the stain on all of this. But let me go through this, okay? Because this fight is a case study in showboating going wrong. Second watch of this was very fascinating for that reason. So Santos comes out the gate hot. Spinning kicks, a lot of forward motion, and Yu is locked in. He's evading shots perfectly, high and low shots. Everything is missing Yu. Good. A minute 30 in, Yu lands a low kick, evades another couple of attacks. You can see the demeanor starting to change. He's found his range, and he thinks he's got Santos figured out. The showboating starts very subtly, and Yu lands a nice knee with a quick tie clinch. His head grows one size. Santos lands a left in motion, and now Yu has felt the power on the connection. His confidence grows even further. He starts clapping at Santos. Showboating increases. Santos misses a spinning kick. Yu spins himself as a little pirouette and then shrugs like, "Is that all you got?" His head grows another size. Santos gets the takedown, but Yu is already lost in the sauce because the crowd is eating up the showboating. So he's sitting on the cage, shrugging on the ground like, "Oh, well, guys, I guess I'm just down here. You're seeing what I'm seeing." They trade a couple of heavy shots to the horn at the end of that round. That's where that round ends. And I said, this was Yu's chance to refocus. This is where you could come back, get the crowd out of your head, get your head shrunk back down to a manageable size. This did not happen. Round 2 starts. Yu comes out super relaxed. Everything's good. He's still in the same mindset from round 1. Santos immediately comes out the gate swinging, clips Yu with a left hook, and he goes out. The moral of the story: every second of the fight that you are showboating is a second you could have been using to win the fight. Not only that, you're also lulling yourself into a false sense of security, which is exactly what happened to Jusang. Don't let what happened to you happen to you. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Well, this dude, the what I will say is the main thing is when you watch this fight, you see these two dudes step in the cage, and you find out that they're at 153 catch weight. You instantly can tell who is out of shape and who is the fucking fat man here, because
True.
Jusang Yu is chiseled by a god, and Daniel Santos is a fucking built like a baby, like he's a toddler body. It's kind of fucking weird,
Yeah.
and so yeah, Jusang Yu, Mr. Korean Zombie Junior, definitely has been watching his retirement fight, because that's exactly what he did against Max Holloway. He threw the pen and paper out the window, and he just said, "Fuck it, I'm throwing my hands up, and we're gonna fucking scrap, and then I'm gonna get knocked out." Like, at least Korean Zombie went out looking like a Chad. Ju Sang Yu was like, emoting in the first round, and then the second he just comes out, lackadaisical and gets clipped, and then he's done. Uh, Sucks to suck, but like, this is why you always got to keep your head on a swivel. Never let your guard down. It's an age old tale. So I,
Yeah.
I think this is just decent performance, but the weight miss is definitely, excuse me, Whew. Weight miss is crazy.
No,
Excuse me.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it again is it does mar all of what I just said, and you can't take that away. You cannot extract the two. So I completely acknowledge that this is a case where we're talking about professionalism. This is about as unprofessional as it gets when it has to be made a catch weight fight. And we've been talking about this before too, where it's like, the organization doesn't want fights to drop off. You know that they want to give the fans the best experience. They want to give them a full card of fights. So things like this, they kind of give a little bit of a pass to it. And I'm really hoping that maybe after the Paramount deal, where the time frame is a little bit different or whatever, like there might be some things that could change the dynamics, but allowing giving these guys a pass is allowing it to happen. And I think that they really need to just put a stop to it altogether. And that goes for great fights too, because we were talking about Miktabek Orlabai versus Mateusz Rombecki. Same situation there, right? I mean, that had to be a catch weight fight. I'm fairly certain, right?
Uh,
Um,
no, he just missed weight, I think,
that might
and
have
it still
been
went on. Yeah. So
same concept though. You know what I'm saying? It's like the more that you allow these things to happen because you want to keep the fight on, the more that it signals to these fighters that, yeah, I'll just lose 30% of my purse and go on about my day.
since you brought it up, and I know it has nothing to do with anything else, but it's a good end note to this fight, I think. Unless there's anything else you have to say,
Oh no, I think I said everything I needed to say.
good news: Mick Tebek is moving up to 170,
Oh,
and
okay, great.
he's fighting Jack Hermanson. Isn't that weird?
I think I did hear that. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. I think that that's going to be a real good test for him at that weight. And we'll see if look, if you want to play stupid games, win stupid prizes. If you're not going to make the weight, now you got to back your ass up at the higher weight here, which is probably what Daniel Santos is going to have to do too, if this is what he's going to do.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But in this moment, again, for the showboating aspect of it, this is a time capsule to any of you fighters out there. Watch this fight to recognize why showboating can go sideways very quickly. Never let yourself get lulled into false security.
Hell yeah.
All right, next fight here, your featured fight of the prelims. Good Lord. This is a Teba Gautier versus Tristan Vines. Now, shout out to Vines for having the balls to take this fight at all. This is a short notice fight, short notice replacement. It was going to be Ozzy Diaz, which was already a layup for a Teba Gautier. But Vine's coming in on short notice here. And, I would say that 99% of the planet would not have the stones, the cojones, to go into a fighting situation with the man of stone, Ateba Gautier here. He is a specimen physically, to be sure, and he hits just as hard as you would expect him to hit. So I got to give Vines credit for at least stepping into the octagon. That being said, this was an unfortunate display.
Well, we all knew what the outcome was going to be. We knew
Right.
why they found an opponent is because this is a free finish, per se. What I also think, after seeing the fight and after putting two brain cells together, I genuinely think that they found a welterweight to fight, and they scuffed the numbers, because this dude and Gautier are two different fucking size humans. Like, this is a man and a child. Like, when you look at these dudes, I mean, Gautier is so fucking massive, and that's against everybody, yes, but like, no way did Vines make the same weight that Gautier did. I just
Well,
don't get it.
and that, I don't watch the weigh-in shows very often. And for Gautier's next fight, I would like to like watch the weigh-in and see just how different his physicality looks, because we've seen plenty of times with guys like completely emaciated on the scale and stuff like that. It's very hard to believe that this guy can get down that deep. I mean, we have seen it. Rumble Johnson's a great example of a dude who could go crazy lengths with his weight cuts and all that kind of stuff. So it's not out of the question that it could be, but you are absolutely right. I mean, this dude is, the size difference was very noticeable. Now, I mean, Vines could just be a little bit undersized for the class, all that kind of stuff too. But it's like, I really want to see the difference between Gautier on weigh-in day versus fully rehydrated, because this guy must put on another like 20 pounds easy.
Toby with the free career comment. That's actually really funny. Yeah, no, that's absolutely, talk about a rocket ship. I mean, this dude's on fucking SpaceX. Anyway, this fight was really funny, and I do want to give, and I will start out and say, Mr. Vines, props. I mean, you made the fight go on. Like Thinker said, nobody else is making that fight go on. You had to be the man to do it, and unfortunately, when the fight started, what we saw was clearly a man who did not want to get punched by that guy. I mean, and I don't blame you. Listen, I'm just calling a spade as a spade. I would not either. But when the fight started, this fight went on a little longer than you would have expected because Mr. Vines was well out of distance. I mean, he was across the cage from him.
Oh,
And he circled for a little bit, and then we got he shot for a really shitty takedown too. I think that was the first interaction that we had with him, and then he gets like just thrown off basically. um Really funny. Then we get up against the cage. Tristan goes for some takedown again, and then it's kind of crazy what happens, because it's not like a table was like ready to fucking kill. He was just like, all right, let's get him off, we'll just do this real quick, and then before you know it, Tristan Giles turns into a board and is fallen over. And then what is the funniest part is the way that Gautier shoves him off. Like he's like elbowing him, and he's like, oh, he's unconscious. He just like moves him, and his like body just like flops, and then he just punches him a couple extra. It was genuinely a hilarious finish. Shout out Mr. Vines.
so I mean, I'm just gonna go through and just tweak a couple of the things that you said. All of it is generally in the right ballpark here. So just to add and tweak, right? Okay, so yes, you are absolutely correct about Vines coming out the gate. What I said about it was that he was so far on the outside, he might as well have been on the other side of the cage. Like he
I
was on behind the black line. He was on the cage.
What I think is, I know I'm gonna let you go. It's like,
Yeah.
you noticed he was like, man, that paycheck sounds really good. But once the fight started, he said, oh, this is what I have to do for the paycheck. Like, fuck.
It
Like,
doesn't hit you until you're right there looking at it,
yes.
But so yeah, Bro's on the outside running so fast that he literally tripped himself at one point in another one of those. Um, Vines finally goes for the takedown that you mentioned, if you can even call it that. Really, he just kind of ran at Ateba with his hands out from a mile away. But it's not that he didn't get it; it's that Ateba kneed him in the face. So he
Oh, that's
basically
right. That's
he
right.
he
Yes.
ran face first into a knee. I was like, oh
You're
no, this
right.
is
No, absolutely great instincts by Gautier. I think this was a good. I remember saying, like, this is how I know that he's going to be just better than just your average big doo doo punches. It's because, like, when the dude rushed in, he had a knee that was ready for him. Like, it hit, it wasn't like impactful. It was just like a little boop. Like, it was just like a
yeah.
boop, got you there, But Tristan was obviously like fucked up after it, kind of deal. Like,
For
shit,
sure.
my only fucking move. Like,
Yeah,
so
no, you're exactly right. I mean, because they were on commentary kind of making it seem like that might have rocked him. And it didn't seem like he was very rocked off of that, but you're absolutely right about the confidence, because it's like, shit, that was my only option.
yeah.
Like, so yeah, so that was that one. Vines shoots for a slightly better attempt, gets Ateba on the cage, and then gets elbowed into the side of his head. That's what really like did it. I mean, there were some shots afterwards, but that was really what did it. And then the funniest thing to me, when you're talking about him getting shoved off, it wasn't even that. He delivered him to the mat. He just hands out. It's hard to fully describe it if you're not watching, if you're listening, but like hands out, just sort of like the way that I described it, it was like baby Moses being sent down the river in a basket, just kind of gently tossed off, just off to sleep with you, Mr. Vines. And that's exactly what happened, because he
Yeah.
tucked him in and said goodnight.
Yeah, no, that genuinely, genuinely really, really funny. I'm gonna mention, and listen, I know Tristan Vines, you did not have many options, but with the reality of you not landing a single strike, also not having much fight time, I would argue that you did come here for a paycheck, but I do not blame you. I literally do not blame you. It probably was pretty fat, but all I'm asking is one strike landed. Like from anybody who gets into the cage, genuinely just make it look like you had some sort of plan. Or like, I don't know. And I get Tristan, you had a plan and it did not work instantly. But like Gautier is pretty good, man. That's just terrible. They fuck it. He's so good that I feel bad that the promotion is like going on with these fights. Let him just never fight. Let him just nobody wants to fight him. Like if nobody will ever take the fight with him, I'm cool with him just being threatening in a nightmare matchup that nobody will ever take a fight against. I do not want to see him booked on 3 days notice against my gym teacher. Like
Right. I mean, and that's really what this was too, right? I mean, this is just, you had him on the card. You're trying to pump this guy up. He's
we're gonna
obviously,
keep him on the card.
oh, right, exactly. The crowd paid for it. You know what you're getting out of it. So obviously they were going to try to scramble to get him something in there, and that's exactly what happened here. It is kind of wild, though. I hadn't even picked up on that until you kind of mentioned it. But if it wasn't for 6 seconds of control time, Tristan Vines would have had a complete goose egg down the line on the stats.
Oh, don't worry. We're going to talk about somebody that dropped a goose egg, but
Yeah.
yeah, this one genuinely hilarious, but also I do want to, when you talk about people who are game, right? Tristan Vines. I mean, he's the one welterweight on this planet that said, "I will fight the biggest fucking middleweight that you have in the UFC right now," and
Yeah,
I'm not gonna win. And he probably knew I'm not fucking winning that shit, but I'll definitely let the cage lock.
give
So
it the old college try. Yeah, definitely shout out to him. And also, we did want to mention that Hydra coming in to confirm that, yeah, Vine's previous fights have been at welterweight. So you
yeah,
were correct in your assessment there, sir.
yeah, hell yeah.
All right. Well, on to the next one for Gautier. Obviously, on the hot shot train, as Toby kind of alluded to there. They're certainly pumping him up. So I would think that some higher level competition is around the corner. It's
Yeah.
got to be, right?
Unless they never take the fight.
Somebody's going to have to. I mean, unless you're just going to send him straight to the top.
I think it's funny is like you say it like, well, somebody has to. Like, yeah, surely somebody would if there was the opportunity at the top of the rank and they want to prove that they can beat him. But like, what if they just don't? Like, what if nobody is gonna fight this dude? A Dana better make a tweet like, all right, the fucking middleweights pussies, they will not fight Gautier. That I need to see it. Like,
Yeah, I mean, somebody's going to have to step up and see if they can actually, put this guy down, because he's been really running through people.
yeah.
All right, on to the main card. Abus Magomedov versus Joe Pyfer. Anik talking about Pyfer finding emotional maturity at age 29 was a big laugh out loud moment for me. But aside from that, this was honestly, this was a little bit of a galaxy brain move for your old buddy Thinker St. James here, I have to say. I don't want to toot my own horn too loudly, but I had said on this previous episode of this show that if Abus wants to go in there and wrestle, that's going to be his method. And if it's at all striking related, then Piper's going to have the upper hand. And that is exactly as this happened. So all praise due to your guy, St. James over here. Chase, your thoughts?
I think there's a couple crucial things you missed about this matchup so far. But what I
Sure.
will say is Joe Pyfer does definitely seem like the type of person to get a hair transplant and then start saying that he's mature. Like, I'm mature now because whatever. So
Yeah,
anyway,
well, that was funny that he. Well, yeah, I posted that meme in the Discord as well. That it is very funny that he got a hair system and then decided to shave his head for this fight.
I think people are, and since we're going to get into it, I think people are reaching on that one. I mean, obviously, you would shave it and then it comes back fuller. I think I get the idea. I mean, it didn't the first time, but he did have hair, but it looked like shit. Like it wasn't full. You cut it, it comes back fuller. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
And to be fair, I mean, and this is the last we can have to talk about this part of it, but to be fair, on the rewatch, because I had saw that tweet before I did the rewatch. Upon rewatching, it did look like the hairline, like on the scalp, looked more full. So
There you
maybe
go.
maybe you're cooking with that.
Yeah, here we go. But either way, I think what's crucial you forgot to mention in this fight is, and albeit to Joe Pyfer, he won this fight and he did get a finish. Very, very grateful. But what I want to know is that he started this fight like a fucking idiot,
Oh
because
yeah,
what you saw in the second round could have been done in the first encounter. Abus Magomedov, like I stated in last week, this dude's chin is made of baby powder. He just gets punched and he falls straight to the mat. Like it's absolutely insane. So the fact that you have Joe Pyfer trying to wrestle with him for an entire first round is really stupid. Is really fucking stupid, because it was really funny too, because Joe Pyfer came in here with like this extreme level of confidence, like I'm gonna grab him and throw him to the ground. He literally tries to chuck a boost and gets fully fucking mounted in the first like, wrestling exchange. He gets up, granted, but like, dude, you let a boost do that to you. If it's anybody else who can keep you, let Fluffy get on top of you. Let Brendan Allen get full mount of you. Like you're gonna flip over and he's gonna choke you out. So I I I don't see the game plan that he saw there. I would have loved for you, Joe Pyfer. You hit harder than Francis Ngannou. Apparently, you have Abus Magomedov across from you. Why are you shooting takedowns?
yeah,
Like,
no, couldn't agree more. All of the trouble that Pyfer had in the first round stemmed from his actions. That's
yeah,
the biggest takeaway to me, because it's not like a boost went after it and just like, they had some tussle and he got the better of it. It was a very telegraphed takedown attempt by Pyfer that led to everything in that first round. And the takedown itself was very easy. Groundwork for the entire rest of the round from a boost pretty much. And I also don't know why that was the methodology there. It seemed very strange. I thought that it was good of Joe and his team to recognize that that was not the method, but you probably come to that conclusion pretty readily, considering that he was in that scissor choke for a little second there.
dude, probably one of the funniest things, because we got the infamous ref cam back, so we get to see Joe Pyfer's head squeezing red like a tomato from Abus's legs. Like Jesus Christ, dude, you
Yeah,
couldn't have looked more shit. Like,
well, it was crazy. I thought I was on the watch along. I'm like, if he actually gets put out by a scissor choke, it would have been ludicrous if that would have been the case. But it actually was. That's not exactly what it was. He was Abus was actually going for a Kimura at the
yeah,
time and just happened to have a scissor hold on him. So great work for Abus to actually get into that position, but it still did not go his way in the fight.
yeah, it didn't, because we finally get the second round started. Then Joe Pyfer remembers that he hits like an F-150, and so he throws one punch. Wow, what do you know? The punch that lands on Abus knocks him to the ground, and then
Right.
we get him right. You know what's really funny? I love to see people who clearly don't know how to get out of submissions, because like you got to answer the phone, right? That's how you don't go out. But like when you see a boost laying there and he's already ready for it, he's already got his arm in the position for it, just for Joe to get the arm triangle. It's like you're missing the point. It's like that's what you do so you don't go unconscious. It's like if you are there, you're already kind of screwed. Don't put yourself there. And we
Right.
will talk about people putting themselves in submissions here in just a minute, but like this one right here, a boost genuinely gave Pyfer the sub. And obviously, I wouldn't want to get up and get hit by Joe Pyfer again either, but I digress.
Yeah, I mean, to Pfeiffer's credit, I thought that it was good work to keep the control when a boost was trying to maneuver out, because there was, before that, he definitely did do exactly what you said, but like before that, he was trying to wriggle his way out. And Pfeiffer did have a really nice body triangle. I always appreciate a solid body triangle, so I wanted to give him some credit there. And yeah, that's really about it, though. I mean, after that, like it was all of the sequence that like you kind of saw coming based on what the dynamics of that encounter was.
I just wonder if Dean Thomas truly sees something I don't, or if he's just like a good friend of Joe's, like, and he's like, well, this is my guy. Like, I gotta coach my guy, because I don't know if anybody else that Dean Thomas is out here like personally, being the UFC coach for. I could.
Well, I mean, considering that Dana White paid his rent for a year or whatever when he was first starting out, there's got to be an ROI.
Mhm.
So I think
Yeah,
that that's we're still in the process of seeing that return.
true. I'm surprised we didn't get to see Timba Garimbo in the Smashing Machine since The Rock bought him a house. We got to get some sort of return out here, but whatever. I
True.
digress.
Yes, yes, indeed. That could have been a nice little addition there. But oh well. All right, moving on to the next one here. We've been having such a pleasant conversation here. Let's keep that pleasantness going. This is Josh Emmett versus Yusuf Zalal. So this is Galaxy Brain St. James Part 2, and I know that that's what you're going to say, Chase. So go ahead and say it.
I remember saying that I wouldn't talk any mess about Zalal if he got a finish, because I did not believe that he was ever going to get a UFC finish again inside the top whatever. Do I count this personally? Not really. And I want you to break down what you saw in this fight first before I tell you what I saw. But I don't necessarily take too much account into this. I definitely have to see it ran back between Zalal and somebody else. This doesn't skyrocket him. This doesn't jump him past anybody. This doesn't move the needle in any sort. And then he also started his post fight speech by saying, "I know I lost a lot of fans with my last performance." And that's where I stopped listening to him, because that was true. That was true. So tell me what happened in this fight.
Oh, I will. I mean, all of what you said was a very long and roundabout way of saying, yes, St. James, you were correct. You are the man. So I'll allow for all of that. No, to be fair about this, this was a strange set of circumstances with how this all ended. I will say that my initial assessment was correct. The speed of Zalal was on display early, so that part did track. The takedown was very effortless. And and I'm not talking about like the law is so great because of it. I'm talking about like it just seemed that Josh Emmett allowed himself to be taken down at open range. Now, I mean, we've
Continue,
seen
please. Continue, please.
yeah, I mean, look, I'll be fair about the assessment here. I mean, I am a fan, but like, there was weirdness with this. So it's like, yeah, Emmett did like we've seen open range. Like, it wasn't even like full on like a single or a double. It was kind of like he wrapped it. He did that move where like you grab around the waist and sort of like swing your body around and like the momentum takes down. And like we've seen that before, and that can be effective, but it just didn't seem like Josh Emmett was doing anything to counteract that. So the takedown, no problems whatsoever for Zalal there. The finish, also very strange. It was an arm bar, but it didn't look like it was fully sunk in. And then Emmett essentially verbally taps, and like I was skeptical of that at first. I was like, did he really like it was not locked all the way in, and like but like the momentum of the bodies looked like that it was going to be like something that could have been pretty nasty, but Emmett just decided before it got to that point to tap verbally, and like they played back the replay where you could actually hear it, and I was like, oh, he did. So that's, again, it is what it is. I don't really know what to fully make of it, but it was like almost handed to Zalal in this fight. So I do understand where you're coming from with it not moving the needle for that reason. I still think that Zalal is a lot better than what that handing would be. That's a separate story here when it comes to this fight specifically. Oddness and I really would like to hear Emmett's side of the equation, because I don't understand it even after rewatching.
Let me start by asking: would you consider Josh Emmett a game fighter before this fight, before this performance?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I would
okay.
say so.
So this is just somebody who you would classify as a game fighter. This is somebody who was just never phoned it in. Like they are just really ready to just go to war with people. Like,
Yeah, yeah, why not?
okay, so this guy walks into a bout, throws zero punches. Zero punches. Gets his back taken. First encounter. Not only does he get his back taken, he actually gets out of that position, pulls the law off the top, puts himself in the armbar position, pulls his head out, and then taps. I, I can't tell you a performance that looks like a dude wanting to get a fucking paycheck on his UFC contract than this one right here. And it's crazy to say that about Josh Emmett, but like genuinely, what was the fucking deal? I mean, and I know there's different people. I know different people are different when it comes to the sport, and I'll give you two examples, dude. I literally just saw Pooja fucking Tomir defend an armbar for a minute longer than this, and didn't verbally tap, didn't actually get her arm broken either. and she almost got out of it. Josh Emmett apparently had no fucking will to fight. He had no will to go on. You're in the sport for encounters like this. You know, when John Jones got put in an armbar and his arm broke, did he quit? No, 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 no. Because there's different levels to the fucking game. But I don't think that is the case here. Because Josh Emmett has never proven to you once that he would not be the type of guy to continue on.
Yeah.
This dude, there were posts about this dude's after fucking party days before the event. I'm just telling you, this dude phoned in a performance, got his UFC contracted $200,000 for a verbal tap where he didn't have to do a damn thing. I'm just saying. I hate to be that way, and people are yelling at me like, "Dude, you've never been in a fucking armbar before, bro." Josh Emmett's been in an armbar 30 fucking thousand times in practice. You're telling me now's the one time that he just magically can't get further than? Oh no, no, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Like, I don't know, bro. Josh Emmett is not a fucking pussy, is what I'm getting at here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, it's hard from the outside, to try to give some credit here. It's hard from the outside to know just how much pressure was actually on the joint. Because from the angles that we saw, and we saw multiple angles of it, because that's what I kept saying on the watch along. I'm like, I need to see a better angle of that, because the angle that we were initially getting during the live element of it was not the best to actually see what was going on underneath. Seeing it from multiple different angles, it just seemed like there could have been something done a little bit differently. And I mean, I'm trying to be charitable here, because like I said, there might have been a whole lot more pressure on the joint than what it visually seemed like, but it's hard to, like, be rallying against what you're saying. And so for that reason, it's like, well, if that's the case, I mean, if you're going hard for one direction and I'm like, I can't really say that you're 100% wrong. I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt here, but like, yeah, it was just too much too soon on it when it came to that. Like, bro, like it really was like, yeah, I'm just not going to take any kind of risk towards going farther, because I mean, like, it didn't seem like it was to the point of him feeling the pressure on the joint yet. That's at least the perception. Now, granted, again, we're not in his body. We don't know exactly how much he actually felt, and also I will want to the credit of Josh Emmett on this. Again, the momentum of Zalal's body was going in the direction that it was going to sink the armbar in deeper. So he might have just been getting ahead of it, but like, that's exactly what you're saying. That's the sport, bro. Like, I mean, and I'm not trying to say that Josh Emmett needed to get his arm broken, but it just felt like, if you're gonna go that level of cautiousness, then you know what's really cautious? Not getting into the octagon in the first place.
I mean, I just look at somebody like Tofik, our guy that competed over in Azerbaijan. He got his arm damn near ripped off by Miktabek, and he was screaming before that shit was done. So if Josh Emmett, if you want to learn a little something, if you indeed did not phone in the performance, apparently, go watch some Tofik. I mean, that dude. Listen, you better be. I genuinely, because, like, listen, you signed up for the shit. I didn't. I came here to comment about it. I didn't tell you that I wanted to go get my arm snapped. That was your job, Josh Emmett. You were put in the position to risk your arm getting snapped. If you are gonna sit here and fucking scream that the fight needs to be over, your arm better be fucking snapped, bro. Like, I
You
don't know.
remember when Muhammad Mokaev was in that knee bar?
Dude, Mosvar was in a knee bar against Diego Sanchez, bro. Everybody, like, dude, Vanessa Demopoulos has been in an armbar against Jacqueline and Marine. Like, we see people go for these submissions all the time, and we've seen people arms get overextended and hyperextended, and they still figure out a way out of it because they don't fucking quit. I wonder if Tommy McMillan's fucking neck hurts by now. I'm sure it fucking does, Josh Emmett. But do you think that him and his 12 hoes and his fucking whores in Atlanta care? No. No, because he's a fucking millionaire now with his broken neck. You could have been with your broken arm, but whatever.
Yeah, it's hard to argue. It's hard to argue the point. So either way, though, I do want to bring it back to the main point, which is, I was right, and Yusuf Zalal is the man. So I mean, you gotta give at least some credit to that part of this, though, because I mean, I do think that, like, think about it like this, right? If Zalal had been running the way that had been described that he runs in fights. He specifically had acknowledged that apparently before this fight and was saying that I'm going to engage. I'm going to go straight for it. To his credit, he definitely did that in this fight. So can you at least acknowledge that that is an improvement fight over fight? And if he does that, that there maybe is more potential for him than you were giving him credit for?
No, because I'm not 100% certain that he did not pay off Josh Emmett. Like, seriously. He said,
Okay.
stand there, do the mannequin challenge. I'm going to just shoot, get your back, and take you down. And you're gonna give me the armbar. Because that's exactly what the situation was even weirder because nobody seemed to know what was going on. When the fight ended, nobody knew what happened. The ref didn't even clarify with anybody. You got the commentators like, whoa, whoa, whoa. The people are fucking walking around the stands. There's no audience. There's no ooh ah. It's just like, nope. Josh Emmett just fucking threw in the towel. Like, all right, so whatever.
So that translates to Yusuf Zalal still not being, and not having more potential than what you were giving him credit for.
No, this dude's definitely still losing here in a little bit.
All right. Well, haters gonna hate, I guess, but I am not one of them, and I thought Zalal did very well overall. Like I said, I think that he at least shored up some of those criticisms by going forward because you talk about game. He definitely looked game in this fight. Like if Josh Emmett had come out swinging, then it could have been a whole big different set of circumstances.
If
Obviously,
Josh
didn't
Emmett
happen.
would have threw one punch, this literally would be a different conversation. If he threw one punch and whiffed, and Zalal took his back and took him down and subbed him, like, cool, got him.
All right. Well,
Josh Emmett literally threw zero fucking punches. Like, not even that he didn't land any punches. Like, he threw nothing. Nothing. Yeah. Okay.
fair enough. I mean, again, the hate seeping through your pores is just going to be there. So, obviously
The
there's no changing that.
the reason you need to be hateful and the reason why hating is good is for reasons why this next fight are great. And I'll
Uh,
tell you
All
why.
right, well, let's talk about it. Next one up was what described to me as the people's main event, and I certainly self-correct and agree with that entirely. This is Yuri Prohashka versus Khalil Roundtree. People were hoping for a banger, and a banger was what you got out of this one. I was very happy with this fight.
What I will say, and I did say this in the Discord earlier, and this is all you have to do to win me over, Khalil. Take your ass whooping like a G. I mean, just go out there, and if it's your time to get finished, so be it. Don't fucking play around with Jamal Hill for 5 rounds. Don't fucking run away from him. He didn't want to engage to get that ass whooping. He wasn't willing to risk the ass whooping. In this one, he was willing to risk the ass whooping, and he actually was doing a very good job for the first 2 rounds. But the issue with Khalil Roundtree is his gas tank. He don't. You know how when you're driving, right, and you see that little light come on and it says E. He don't fucking have that. The light just don't fucking work on his shit. He hits E and he just doesn't move. He doesn't throw punches. He just gets punched and he falls over. Like, I don't know why that's the case because genuinely, he made everybody who is a big fan of Yuri, not me, of course, because I don't know if people are seeing different than me. Everybody said Yuri is not fighting like he ever has before. My opinion, he looked just as goofy and unorthodox as he always does. I mean, he's doing bullshit. Like, that is what he does. If you just mean he's never looked like it in the sense of him losing doing it, sure. But as of this fight right here, he was doing everything he normally does, to my opinion, and Khalil was just outworking him. He had the timing perfect on Yuri. He was beating the reach with timing and speed. And Yuri, God, dude, this dude is massively long. I don't know why he has such long arms and long legs, and he's so tall for the division, but he is. And he always, he just never quits, man. I don't know if it's a self confidence thing, if he never doubts himself, because there are times where he gets frustrated for sure. You can see it. He's just not always winning the fight, but when he does, he wins the fucking fight. I mean, there's just nothing else to say. I mean, he couldn't predict, and this is master's degree Yuri. He could not tell you that Khalil Roundtree is going to gas out, but his pace and his style lends everybody to gas out eventually. They have so much to keep up with, and he's just always going to be in your fucking face throwing the wildest thing that you've seen. And Khalil, again, much respect for going in there and actually putting on a dogfight and getting the brunt of it. I mean, I'm not saying that you deserved it, but you could have won this fight if you would have just lasted 2 more minutes or whatever it was. But surprise, surprise, Yuri is somebody that you genuinely like. And I know there's people that we say you just can't count them out. But like, if you watch somebody lose 3 rounds, like, you're going to count them out. You're going to fucking count them out. But I genuinely and honest to God, after every round that started, I was like, Yuri's going to get this done. This is the round that he's going to get it done. And he didn't do it the first or second. But when he got it done in the third, that's all she fucking wrote, man. That was so good.
Yeah, well, you know what I said on the watch along and will repeat here is there is nothing quite like watching Yuri Prohashka fight. It is a unique experience that is truly one of a kind and in the best way because it really is. People were saying about Dricus du Plessis being unorthodox, that's its own version of it. This is in a class of unorthodox all to its own. Now, to the point that we had been debating before, of course, Khalil was going for it in this fight because Yuri made him go for it in this fight. He didn't have to go for it as much with Jamal, so he didn't. Here he had to, and that's to Yuri's credit as well. I mean, Yuri is going to be more in your face than other fighters are, and also Yuri really has that way of baiting the fight out of you because those hands low. I mean, everybody's been posting the image and the meme about Yuri now putting his hands up finally and him acknowledging like this big galaxy brain epiphany that, oh, maybe if I actually block shots with my hands, yeah, exactly, a light bulb moment that maybe some defense of your chin is a good thing. Good for him to acknowledge that halfway through this fight, but either way, it's like he will put his face out there, like saying, "Come and take it," So it's like that was certainly working in Khalil's favor for those first 2 rounds. I mean, that first round, there still was a good amount of feel out, but it's like this is the type of fight I love with a feel out round because it's like you know the difference as a fan. It's like when you have feel out rounds like earlier we were talking about in the card, it's like, okay, we're sitting here waiting for something to happen, and it's like what is anybody going to do anything? A feel out in a fight like this is anticipation building. It's like that there are fireworks on the other side of this feel out. So Khalil lands a few nice solid shots in the first. Yuri had a couple, significantly less. And Yuri was also like, there was some weird stuff going on with his footwork, and that could just be his goofiness. That certainly could have been it. People were speculating that he might have had some problems with his feet, or like his footing might have been off. Joe Rogan was saying he might have been slipping around or whatever. I don't know what it was with all of that. I had in the notes, I was like, what is up with Yuri's foot? Don't know. Didn't end up mattering. He didn't say anything about it after the fight, so oh well. But second round was pretty much the same as the first in a lot of ways. Khalil, couple really solid, strong connections. Yuri really not keeping up. Everyone with Yuri on the parlay is shitting bricks at the end of that round. But round 3, Yuri has the awakening of the sleeping giant, ramps up the goofball. It's key. You got to understand, you're seeing all the goofiness of rounds 1 and 2, and you're like, what is this guy? What are we accomplishing here? But you're not understanding that you need more of that, not less of it. And that's what he did. Take the win by blunt force. And that is exactly how he did it.
It's funny to note about Yuri, and you said like he turned up the wild. Yuri is so unorthodox, and this is what being unorthodox can lend you to be, is unpredictable. Because Yuri could go more wild, or he could just be the most technical fighter you've ever seen after just the most wild like shit you've ever thought he would do. And like he actually puts his fucking hands up, he actually starts kicking you in the stomach. It's like, I don't know. He's just honestly awesome. Love to see a Yuri fight. They're genuinely nothing like it.
Yeah, I mean, he threw the entire unorthodox kitchen sink at Khalil in that third round. What I had said, we're talking about the kicks, and I saw Hydra had mentioned the front kicks from Yuri in that third round might have been a big factor in leading towards Khalil gassing, on top of the fact that he carries so much goddamn muscle on the frame that gassing is just inherent. It has to be. But the thing that I was noticing was that Khalil, some of his best weapons are his kicks, and the oblique kick specifically. Rawand, shout out to our homie Rawand. Much love to Rawand. But Rawand was cooking in the Discord when he said, we've seen Khalil put people out with the oblique kick. I mean, I believe it was a boost. No,
No.
I always know it's Modestus. That I always for some reason get those mixed up. But yes, Modestus Bukauskas TKO'd him with an oblique kick. Yuri has the wide karate stance that's prime for an oblique kick. Didn't go for it all that much. I think he tried it one time and didn't get it. But it was like there were just a couple of like game planning things. It looked like he was headhunting a little bit too much because I think that he was playing into the chess match that Yuri presented. And now, I mean, when we say chess, I'm talking like Stratego. You know, this is like 4D chess when it comes to Yuri. But like the fact remains, if you play his game, Yuri is a dude, like you said, you know, you cannot count him out, and he did what he needed to do to get himself to that third round, get Khalil tired enough, and take over the momentum. So it worked out in the end for him.
Yeah, this dude has only lost to Alex in the UFC. He is genuinely one of my favorite fighters. He's got so much experience under his belt at 32 and 5. He only finishes people or gets finished, that is. I mean, he has never even met Sal Tomato or Mike Bell or any of these people. He doesn't even care because he finishes people and they don't fucking move. Like Jesus, he's a Chad. I love this dude.
Yeah, same. It's hard to think of anything that is quite like watching him fight, and that in and of itself makes him one of the most entertaining fighters in this sport. You get like I really would genuinely love to pick the brain of a person that does not like watching Yuri fight because it does not compute to me. You know.
Yeah, you know, sometimes people don't like watching the nerd.
Well, yeah, okay, go be an alpha Chad somewhere else then. But yeah, no, Yuri is the man. Shout out to Khalil because a great fight on his side as well. Yeah, again, two to tango in these fights, and he really was putting that work. And you could see that's why I do feel bad for Khalil a little bit on this one because you could definitely see in the at least in the second round, especially like the he was really throwing those shots. Like you could tell that like I would say he was headhunting a little bit too heavily, but like the reason for that was he wanted to win this fight badly. Like I mean, this was like could have been a defining fight for him had he had the ability to put him out. And some of those shots looked like they had a lot of power behind them. Those were ones that were landing. So Yuri not only unorthodox and amazing with his movement, but also has a really good chin.
Yuri, there were times that Khalil rocked Yuri. Like Yuri was getting, you know, a little wobbled and a little off balance, but Yuri is so he has this reset where he like, you know, he like visibly shakes his head, he gets flustered, and then he gets back into it's like Khalil had so many opportunities to just go beat the shit out of him when he's like ready to just like do like his whole fucking reset. You know, just Khalil just never really had the switch to go ahead and just like get it done. And I think that's been a thing that you can look back in his career and say that about. Like, okay, he gets an oblique kick against Modestas. Okay, he's at range. He throws a fucking kick and breaks his leg. Sure. He gets a fucking Anthony Smith knockout. And even then, he didn't even go for the thing. He let the fucking, he wants to hold his fucking hand up and let the ref step in. You know, I've never seen Khalil like chase the fucking finish, at least in my time watching. This was another example. He rocked Yuri a couple times. All he had to do was just go fucking kick him and, you know, knock him down, you know, do something. And he just didn't do that. So,
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, I mean, it was still it was still the striking was I think the attempt. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was like he really wanted to put him out in emphatic fashion. He wanted it. I mean, you know, for all of the criticisms leading up to it, I mean, it seemed like both of these guys actually understood the assignment. You know,
Mhm.
come in here and give the fight that the fans actually want, and we got that. So shout out to both of them. It puts Khalil in an unfortunate position now because he is starting to seem like the dude who will put on an exciting performance. Like, you know, Khalil almost is signaling like a BMF to me. You know what I mean? Like it's like a guy who he might not be able to actually be the champ, but he's going to go out there and give his all in the fight, kind of thing, whatever. And I know, yes, you can save the additional criticisms there, but like my point is that if you put him up against another dude who's like in the same similar bracket, so to speak, like two guys who like both understand the assignment, you can still get a really good fight out of them. It's just not going to be champion caliber.
Yeah, I kind of agree. But, you know, Yuri, very happy that he got this one done. I'm glad that I never lost confidence through the fight. I always was confident that he was going to win. And it just happened to be so awesomely done.
Yeah, absolutely. And now Yuri, another dude who you can put into the coveted Neil Magny school of comeback victories. And isn't
Yeah.
that something that everybody wants to be a part of?
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, moving on to the co-main event of the evening. This was a title fight, people. This was Merab Dvalishvili versus Corey Sandhagen. I mean, you know, we're witnessing a person. I think it was Toby who said this in the chat. we're witnessing potentially a dude in Merab Dvalishvili who is not only solidifying himself as the GOAT of a division, but potentially becoming higher up on the conversation of a GOAT of this sport, period. So pretty impressive work from Mr. Dvalishvili. But what did you think of Corey Sandhagen in this fight? I believe it was you who said that this was going to be Merab's easiest fight. Did you think that that was the case after watching?
Yes, I do. I think this exactly was what I thought it was going to be. This was Marab's easy fight. I mean, easiest, sure, maybe not. I mean, but he 50-45'd him in my book. He got a 10-8 in round two. I mean, they gave Corey one round, but
So you didn't even give Corey the first round?
oh, brother. Do,
Yeah, I mean, come
see,
on, you got to be credit where credit is due. He won that first
no,
round.
no.
Yeah,
See,
what?
this is the problem too. Is like people they'll take a close round and they'll pity give it to the person who is not going to win any other round.
No. Not. I hear where you're coming from with that. This was not that because I will at least self admit that sometimes I will be that person. Not here though. This was not even a close round.
I remember people saying 1-0 Corey, and I rolled my eyes. And then round two started, and we got a
Uh,
10-8. So
Marab Mafia has infected your brain like so much of my Discord.
what? I mean, listen, Corey Sanhagen once again lied to you guys to make you believe that he knows something. If I'm going to beat Marab on the feet, and if he can't handle me on the feet, I'm going to submit him on the ground. You know what I saw you do? I saw you back your ass up into Marab against the cage. That's what I saw you do for this. It's actually quite impressive because the two times that I've seen Corey go against wrestlers, he sat in Umar's lap and then he backed his ass up to Marab against the cage in this one, which is really hard to watch because, like, that was your grandiose plan. That was it. Like, that was all you had right there. There wasn't a step two. There wasn't a not make it look gay move. Like, I don't know what you were going for, but it genuinely makes me mad because if I didn't know better, I would be like, he's got it this time. He learned from Umar. He knows what to do against a better grappler. Now he knows how to get out of these positions. No, he doesn't. He doesn't even fucking try. Like, it literally is annoying that Marab drops you. Like, I know they didn't give it to him. Like, this is the shit that I'm talking about. They give Veronica Hardy a fucking knockdown. Marab Dvalishvili over here doesn't get one when he clearly puts Corey on his
Yeah,
ass and almost finishes him.
I feel that.
But, like, genuinely, I mean, somebody, I don't remember what it was, but somebody said Corey is the best all around. He's better all around than anybody Marab has faced. And it's like, okay, great. So he's going to lose just as bad in every other aspect than everybody. He's not even great at the things that the other people are. He's just well rounded. So the things that they were great at that they couldn't accomplish against Marab, you think the well rounded dude's going to accomplish? No, not even close. And you know what he did? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Fuck all in this fight. Like,
Yeah. Well, I did think that it was pretty hilarious that at the start of this thing, DC was saying Corey said he was going to be using offensive wrestling against Marab. He does not have any. That is like, this is sad to say. Another one where I feel like I was doing a pretty good job of predicting because that was like if that was the game plan, we saw everything that you needed to see in the Umar fight and really on display here exactly that same way. I mean, I would say though, again, to be a little bit more charitable than you're being, the first round was probably the most adversity that Marab has faced as a champion. Corey did do some decent striking, negating Marab's entries as well. So not the strongest start in the world, but against Marab, it was a great showing for Corey specifically. But then, rounds 2 through 5, Marab locks in and becomes the machine and throw all that shit out the window. It doesn't matter anymore. But I mean, on the other side of that too, props to Corey for surviving round 2 because Marab really genuinely did look like he might have actually been able to finish him halfway through that round. I mean, up against the cage, just laying on those hammer fists, laying on those shots. Corey was really having to regroup, and I was genuinely impressed that he was able to do that. So, I give him a little bit of credit on that regard. After that, it really was just the Merab show that you know and love. And the thing, so two things that Merab did in this fight specifically, it's like you always can have your little like Merabisms now. Is like from every fight, there's a different one. This one to me, the two things that stood out were the drop takedowns were absolutely wild. He did, I think, 3 of them total. 2 of them were after Corey got rocked, and then one was again when he was not rocked. And I was like, bro, if you're able to pull drop takedowns like that, that's what he's on his back and just falls to the ground and then basically takes him over his shoulder and still is able to secure a takedown that way. I'm like, this is some next level shit. And for Corey to have to be okay with that, you're looking at goat shit right there. That's definitely one of them. And then the other one was just the whip tosses. I mean, he would get Corey's leg and just phew, like just a real quick snap motion to slam him to the ground. I'm like, Corey is getting worked by things that should not work in a fight, period, no matter what level that you're at. You're in a championship fight here. This is champion level. Conceivably, the reason that you are here is that you are of the caliber to challenge for the belt, and you're getting drop takedown and whip tossed. I mean, this is just mind-blowing shit that I was not expecting, but you should expect it from Merab.
I mean, I agree with you there. You should expect it from a Rob. And if anybody out there is listening, I think you should start expecting something from Corey, and that is inconsistency. I mean, it's not inconsistency in what he's able to do with his skill set. It's inconsistency is what he's making you believe that he's going to do with his skill set. Dude, he is not doing anything against wrestlers. I mean, this is the last time that you guys should ever think that he's going to have an offensive game plan that negates wrestling. It's just not going to fucking happen. So
yeah, no, I agree. I mean, when it comes to Corey, I definitely am coming around a lot more than I might have. I mean, already was sort of there. We talked about it when, with the last episode, in the Umar fight and all of that. But this certainly does show it a lot more strongly. It's talking, it's a bill of goods that you're getting sold here, and it's not necessarily adding up because he doesn't utilize his length almost at all. I mean, barely any kicks. He's too cautious with his range striking. Now, I understand he's worried about getting kicks caught. I get it. It's Merab. He's going to do that. But sometimes, what are the alternatives? What are your two options?
Either if you're just scared to implement any sort of game plan, you're certainly not going to win. So if you're scared that he's going to catch your kick, that means you're just not going to kick. Okay, well, good luck.
Right. Then what else? Exactly. That's exactly it. So it's like, what Corey does well is get back to his feet. This fight reminded me a lot of Fluffy versus Delitse with the amount of up and down Corey was having to do. Every time that he would get back up, Merab just take him back down again. Now, of course, Fluffy was commanding Delitse to get back to his feet. Merab just had his hands on him the whole time because he is such a sponge. I mean, this dude will not let go of you. Once he gets his hands on you, you're done. So yeah, I mean, there was just a lot of up and downs, but Corey, that's the one weapon, quote unquote. I don't even think you can call it a weapon. It's the one ability that he has. He has a competent defensive wrestling. Yeah. Other than that, what did you see? You saw a lot of ineffective striking. Utilization of range was just not on par, and you saw a much shorter guy. You see the two of those guys standing in front of each other. I mean, the size difference was so glaring, and Merab did not let it have even an iota of effect on this fight.
Yeah, when I think of people who use their mouths to get fights, I genuinely think Corey, and I know he's not a trash talker in the sense that you guys would be thinking I'm saying it, but like this dude makes you believe that he is some guru of fighting, that he can beat any sort of style. That it's not the person that he can beat, it's the styles, it's everything about this person and what they're made of. I can just overcome that. And it's like, Corey, I have yet to see you do it live. I have yet to see you prove to me that you have some crazy killer IQ. Because, I mean, out of all the times that you were grappling with Merab, you didn't throw up one sub. And I know, I mean, it ain't make or break for you to be some crazy IQ person and no grappling, but like, brother, you were grappling with them the entire time. I don't know if you knew that you can grapple. You have offensive skills too. If you're so well-rounded, you're so high IQ, you're so genius when it comes to this stuff, where was any sort of like I don't know, game plan. I don't know,
Yeah,
dude.
no, I agree. I agree. Unfortunately, I mean, the other side of the coin in this fight specifically is that no one can outwork Marab. I mean,
True.
that is being proven time over time over time now. I mean, round 5, Marab is just as fresh as round 1. It's impossible to outwork. He has the best cardio in this sport. Period. I will stand on that as a definitive statement. In my opinion, I don't think that there's any cardio better than Marab. The other thing that Marab is really, what we were picking up on the watch along, he is so active at all times. That's why it's so insane that he has such cardio that he does, because it's one thing to secure takedowns and do a little with them, but Marab is constantly striking when he's clinching. He's constantly changing directions and positions. He's constantly forcing you down to pick you back up. He is always in motion one way or another. If he has to defend, he's right back to the attack. If he has to attack, or if he goes in for an attack with multiple, like a combination, he's right back to the next motion thereafter. It's like Marab has it's very machine-like, and I mean, no pun intended, but the nickname makes sense. He gets himself locked in, and it's almost like you're seeing the switches in his mind go, okay, this to this to this to this. This is coming back at me. I anticipate. I go to this. It's like you're watching like a large language model in action with Marab at times. It's very impressive, and it's unlike really anybody else in this sport, and that is why Marab as a wrestler has won so many people over, because oftentimes you have these circumstances where, oh, the wrestling is boring, no one wants to see that. Marab, it's never boring.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Marab, I mean, like you said, he's the same in the 5th round as he is in the first, except in the 5th, he's got his meme power, and you're never going to get over top that. So,
And how fun is that? Good Lord. Marab was just out there with the big old smile on his face, dapping up his opponent as he is working them to death.
yeah, it's definitely a fight that you have to experience. So,
Yeah, and last note that I have about this: 20 secured takedowns for Marab in this fight, a new record for takedowns in a UFC title fight. Marab also over 100 takedowns in his UFC career now.
I think it's actually 120. I think it's actually just on the dot 120 now. So, yeah, that's 40 more than GSP or something. So,
It's again, it goes back to what I was saying. Marab is making a case for himself. I mean, what I had said going into this fight and still stands true for me personally. And if you don't agree with it, completely acceptable as well. But I just want to see the rematch with Pereira just one more time, because Pereira has been doing such nice work. He's really been getting himself back into the position to be a rightful contender again. Take out Pereira, go to the division is unquestionable. If you think he already is, completely acceptable as well. Beyond that, though, gotta restate it. Marab is making a very good case for being amongst the GOATs of this sport, point blank period at this point.
yeah, no, he is. I mean, at least it's one thing to compare him to the greats of all time, but when you break down the eras of fighting, I mean, Marab is literally one of the pioneers of this era of the sport. So he's gonna be somewhere. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, Marab, future Hall of Famer is an understatement at this point. It's really just a matter now of seeing how far the rocket ship goes.
yeah, true. And speaking of how far the rocket ship can go,
Indeed. Let's get to it. Your main event of the evening, Magomed Ankalaev versus Alex Pereira, the rematch of the two of these gentlemen. I mean, not a hell of a lot to talk about with this one. 80 seconds worth of fight. So your guy Magomed Ankalaev was a champion for a whopping 80 seconds. Return of Chama.
yeah, I mean, I this is another time where I think I was very confident and very happy to stick to my guns on this one. I don't know what I mean, obviously we could I think the commentary said that in the last fight Poetan had a hurt hand or something is what they officially said it was. I said he might have been sick or he just off his game is generally what the consensus was. Did not look like the Shama man fighting last time. And I was confident that this go around you need to be careful. Ankalaev is going to be a little too confident walking in there that he just went 5 rounds with the guy that knocks out everybody. Be careful because there's not going to be 5 rounds where you're going to not take a clean strike. And what exactly happened? The first round, clean strike gets off, puts Ankalaev on the mat, and Alex Pereira goes for the finish, brutally elbows him to death, basically. And what's key to note about this, and there's two parts to what I'm about to say. What's key to note is that there was plenty of time. Herb or whoever it was giving him the most amount of time ever. I mean, if you thought a championship fight had been ended early ever in existence, this was not going to be it. And what I think is key to note about that is some people were questioning if there should be a rematch for a trilogy. I say no. And obviously, you need to have somebody who's worth giving a rematch to, but the trilogy does kind of speak to something. But the reason I say no is because Ankalaev had his opportunity to fight. I mean, Herb Dean gave him literally every opportunity in the book to continue fighting in that fight right there. I don't need to see him in another one because he had the opportunity right then and there. Yes, he got knocked down. Yes, he was rocked. We've seen plenty of people make recoveries and get up from it. This was not the end of the world for Ankalaev, but he made it the end of the world. So I don't want to hear him calling for a rematch against Shama to continue the trilogy because it doesn't matter. You did not want to continue the second in the bout, you know?
I mean, I was going to say, it's like, we've seen a lot of people get rocked and get back up, but not a lot of times against Alex Pereira. I mean,
True.
that's the big difference here. So I don't know if it's not that he didn't want to. I think it was that he literally could not. But no, I agree. I 100% across the board agree on all of that. I mean, this was one where I was very happy to be wrong about my initial conversation from the last episode. I didn't bet on this fight specifically because, I could have seen this coming. I mean, I
Hmm.
did not, but this happening does not surprise me in the slightest. And yeah, to anybody, because there were people in the watch along saying that a couple of other commentators had some things to say about the stoppage. Yeah, anybody who thinks that this was an early stoppage is out of their mind. This was a perfectly fine stoppage. Herb Dean was doing exactly as you said. He was giving him every opportunity. Alex Pereira was raining elbows down on him after the shot had landed. There was no getting back from it. He could have, you want him to take another 15 of those? That could have happened if you wanted to. Get Kerry Hatley in here. He'll let that happen. Uh,
Absolutely.
but that look, there it wasn't going to change anything. Alex walked in there, immediately got to the offense, got Ankalaev uncomfortable, and landed with power. That's what he needed to do. That's what he did. Everything really, you would not give that extend that courtesy to me, but I will to you, Chase. You were 100% correct in your assessment of this coming into this fight from our previous conversation, saying that he was having an off night. He said it in the post fight. It turned out to be true. What you saw in here was much more true to form. And also, I mean, I don't know how much of this is necessarily true, but he kind of confirmed it a little bit. I think Ali Abdelaziz poking the bear a little bit might have contributed a little bit as well, because anytime that Alex Pereira gets upset at someone, they're going to die. Like that's
Hmm.
just that is how it goes. Alex Pereira, he said he was like, oh, revenge is a poison. You don't want to let that into your mind. It's like I don't. You can consider it however you want to consider it. It is in your veins, sir. You are a person who does not let things go. It's one of the things I like about him.
Hmm.
He will go back to avenge losses. And Ali on Twitter poking the bear. That was exactly what you get from that.
There's a good moment. Alex before the fight said, I don't want to go back to the tire shop, and I kind of respect that. I kind of respect it. So,
Right. Yeah. Well, and yeah, people saying that Ankalaev can go take his place at the tire shop.
yep.
That's certainly a possibility there. Yeah. No, I mean, there's really not too much to say here. I mean, this is, we you can talk about the greatness of Alex Pereira. I mean, some people saying, oh, he loses the belt just to win it back. It's like, I mean, I don't think that that's necessarily true, but that is what happens. So it's like, how you weigh that when it comes to like a GOAT list conversation, that's, up to your own interpretation, I would say. The only other real note that I had was that the crowd was not feeling Ankalaev in the slightest. They were booing like crazy and very happy when he lost.
Good.
Uh, yeah, I mean, fine. I was never as big of a hater of Ankalaev as other people were. I kind of thought he was a funny kind of trolly sort of way of him, but was not really a very vocal champion. So it's not like you really heard too much from him until fight time. So whatever. But one thing that I did see from some of the commentary out there in the community was order has been restored to light heavyweight, and
Yes.
that does feel that way.
Yeah, the boogeyman is back. I mean, people can go back to fearing Alex Bejeda at light heavyweight, and this is really good. The only problem is Yuri also won. So will we have to see Yuri die a third time? Probably. Not gonna
Hell
lie to
no.
you.
No, the damn we will not, because the new boogeyman is coming right around the corner, and his name is Carlos Ulberg, the Black Jag. Carlos Ulberg was hilarious at this event, by the way. And I'm memeing a little bit, but Carlos Ulberg at the event looked like he had not gotten an ounce of sleep the night before. He was looking like he was struggling to keep his eyes open. So like they were trying to, they're building hype. They're showing him in the crowd, how is he reacting to this? Falling asleep is how he was reacting to it.
The funny part that I saw from Carlos Ulberg, it happened during the Yuri fight. After Yuri gets the finish, right? They're like, all right, we're gonna go to Carlos Ulberg, and he's walking back to his seat, like putting his belt back on, like he just took a shit or something, watching during the fight. Like it's just so funny. Like the dude wasn't even paying attention.
And it's just great because you're never going to get the things that you want out of Ulberg. He's not that guy. He
Yeah.
is milk toast. He's a very mild mannered, like polite guy. You're not going to get the big fight building elements that you want out of him. But regardless of that, he still is in the equation. And I would say, look, you can hate on the style, you can hate on the man, you can hate whatever, but Yuri's had 2 shots at it. You got to give Carlos the shot.
No, for sure. I don't want to talk about Ulberg. I actually would like to just specifically say that off the top of my head, I can confidently say, I've compared Alex, and the way that Alex defeats people and he humiliates them is very Anderson Silva esque. He just makes them look like they are not professional fighters. I think Alex Pereira might be the second greatest Brazilian champion that we've seen in the UFC.
That's one of those things that is a conversation that has multifaceted, and many people can have many different things to say about it. What I will add to it, because I don't think that you're far off. We have never seen power like Pereira. I think is just undeniable. I mean, the man will go in there and can, with a strong breeze of his hand, will put you out.
Well, we've seen power like him. His name is Gautier, but
well, it remains to be seen if he's going to get to that height, perhaps. But certainly a little bit of a difference between Magomed Ankalaev and Tristan Vines. But regardless, I mean, the power that this man has and what he has done in the time that he has been in this sport is remarkable. And I think that the GOAT list conversation, I've been talking about this from old Yama episodes, earlier in this channel's history. This is how long this has been building up. So it's like, how much longer do you need before like even the most ardent denier is going to have to come around to the reality of it?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. Alex is definitely special, and I'm really happy that he's back as champion because now we can have fun again.
Yeah, I am too. The only thing that I will say, and this has nothing to do with Pereira himself, is that we were just talking about with the Ulberg Reyes fight and the makeup of light heavyweight. There needs to be a bigger shakeup at light heavyweight. And I'm not talking about Pereira specifically. I'm talking about anything underneath him, because like what you were saying, Yuri getting a win now, is that going to be the thing? Yeah, I mean, like it's in that same position that middleweight was in when it was Izzy and Sean Strickland and Dricus and Rob Whitaker, like that sort of little cluster. They've got a little cluster at the top right now, and we need to have that shaken out. So Ulberg getting the shot is going to make sense. Other than that, it really is a division that we need to boost up some new talent in.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
So there you have it, though. I mean, Alex Pereira back on top, love to see it. The world is a better place for it, perhaps. Everybody walks with a little bit more of a pep in their step now, knowing that the champ is back.
Yeah, the clouds have definitely cleared. The sun is out. Rainbows and butterflies are all out. Alex is now the new light heavyweight champ. Excuse me.
Absolutely. So, having talked through UFC 320, Chase, after all of that, what is your final takeaway of this thing?
Those last 3 fights saved the fuck out of this, man. It would have been brutal. Wow. So
We had a couple of other decent finishes earlier. I think that I liked this card a little bit, I guess, more than you did. I would give this one probably, like a good 6.5 or a 7 overall. With
pay-per-view getting a 6.5, guys. Listen to that.
Maybe I'm being a little downplaying it. I think I'm reacting to what you're saying a little bit more. Solid 7. How about that?
All right, solid 7 for a pay-per-view.
Yeah, well, but hey, I mean, you're getting to see Pereira doing his thing, and you're getting to see Merab solidify his own
Yuri.
Yeah, right. But so there you go. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that and a couple other ones. I probably could go back down the list and pick out some other decent ones if we wanted to. You got to see Teba Gautier, knock some dude through the floor.
Yeah, true.
deliver him back into the ocean from whence he came.
Yes.
So there you go. That is 320. Let's take a look at what we've got coming up here besides the Contender Series tomorrow night. We've got UFC Fight Night, Oliveira versus Gamrot. That is in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. What do you think of this main event, my man?
The main event is going to be a banger. I think Gamrot is gonna win. It's not gonna be what you guys want. It's not gonna be fun. Gamrot's gonna hold him down just like Armin did, and there's about that. I mean, it was a split decision loss for Gamrot to Armin. I'm pretty sure, and a lot of people think that he should have won that. Armin very easily beat Charles, and if people want to complain that Charles beat Armin, I mean, you're just wrong. I mean, it's just incorrect assessment. Gamrot's going to control him the entirety of the fight. So,
Well, I think that this comes down to what version of Oliveira we are currently working with, because Oliveira is a guy who's had a long storied career in this sport. He's seen the highest of the highs, he's seen the lowest of the lows. He's pretty much completed the hero's journey and solidified his arc in this sport on all angles. So, with that being said, is there what phase does he currently fall in of that? I mean, he's been around for a very long time. I would say that he's probably on the tail end of that.
mhm.
How much is left in the tank for somebody like Gamrot, who is not in that same situation? That's going to be the big question here. I mean, they're very similar age, so it's not like this is an age thing. It's really just about the dynamics of everything that has come before it going into this. Now he's coming off of a knockout loss to one of the greats currently as well. Does that play a factor here? I don't know. I mean, Gamrot has been in a lot of grudgy kind of matches, a lot of like really grindy matches. Oliveira's been in a lot of fireworks fights. How does that all factor into the dynamic of this? I think is going to be the question. My gut is also telling me that Gamrot's probably more primed, a little bit better seated, better security in his career positioning than Oliveira is. And I think a lot of people, I don't want to say are thinking that the sun is setting on Oliveira, but I'm kind of saying that.
Yeah, I definitely kind of agree with you on that one.
So if that is the case, I mean, now granted, Charles, as we had said, I mean, a guy who has seen the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows. So it's
Hmm.
like, is there potential for him to come out here and pull off something that we're not expecting entirely? Absolutely, I say that there is potential for it, but I've extended that same leeway to him in a number of fights, and a number of times he has come up short with that leeway in place. So that being said, I'm going to also go with Gamrot on this fight.
Hell yeah, we're gamers today, buddy.
Indeed, game on. Got my video game history foundation shirt on for that
Nice.
exact reason. Shout out to the gamer Mateusz Gamrot. Moving on down the line, your co-main event: Davison Figueiredo versus Montel Jackson. This is a co-main event.
Yeah, this is definitely a co-main event. The only thing that I think is interesting to note about this fight, and I'm hoping chat will go ahead and confirm this. We had just saw Davis and Figueiredo. I'm assuming, faked or somehow pulled. Because when he fought Corey last, they got into a grappling sequence. He verbally tapped, and presumably he was about to be done with his career because he just tore his ACL or something at age 37. Now he's back in this fight. Presumably nothing happened. No injury, just ready to just jump back in camp. It looks like that's interesting to note, but okay, whatever.
That's on the Figueiredo side, you're saying?
Yes, Figueiredo. Yeah,
What? Refresh my memory on what are you referring to here?
his last fight, the last fight that Corey Sandhagen just had before
Oh
he got the
yes,
title
gotcha.
fight.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
That
tweaked his knee in grappling, and then apparently is just okay now. Like I don't know what happened there. I mean, I figured it would have been something severe if you were screaming that your leg hurts in a grappling situation, but now you're fighting
oh
Montel Jackson in a co-main event. Kind of
yes.
interesting to me, but whatever.
Now, yeah, the pieces just solidified in my mind. He had to be carried out of that one, if I recall.
Well, I mean, it just made it. Listen, Figueiredo has never really stuck out to me as the most, classy fighter. He does a lot of things that I'm not necessarily in love with. Missing weight is one of them, and Figueiredo. It seemed to me after getting 3 rounds of his ass whooped, and then the fourth, he was going into getting his ass whooped. In the sequence where his leg hurt a little bit, he took a verbal tap, and now we're on to another fight. It didn't look like that bad, it didn't look that bad because I just kind of got tweaked. I just kind of got a tweak. It wasn't like I got lost and beat by decision. He could be like, no, I just got hurt in that one. So I don't know. This one just, I don't. It seems a little fishy that he just is able to get a very easier matchup right in
Well,
the co-main event after that. But
I mean, Hydra's saying that it was a knee bar screaming loss.
yeah, see, shit like that.
So I don't know. But either way, I mean, it's really the Figueiredo side of this is not all that surprising. I mean, Figueiredo is a dude who, at this point, like he did enough early on in his career that he's still sort of riding off of that. I feel to an extent because he's been pretty patchy, especially since moving up in weight. I mean, at flyweight, he was the god of war for a little while there. Mixed results at bantamweight, I would say. But again, it's in Brazil. You want a Brazilian fighter in your co-main. It could do worse than that. My thing is that Montel Jackson, I mean, granted, he is coming off of a knockout win,
Hmm.
but aside from that, I mean, is the strength of record enough for him to be co-maining an event is my
No.
question. So yeah, exactly. So I mean, if that's the answer, then it's like this. That's I kind of started out with the question, kind of leading the leading question, but like I mean, it just seems odd to me that this is a co-main caliber with Mr. Jackson as the other half of this dance.
I would like to remind you that Ponzinibbio and whatever that other fucking random guy's name is, they co-mained event. Cody Brundage co-mains event all the
That,
time.
that we're talking Apex, brother. This is in Rio de Janeiro.
I think you had just answered your own question. Why would Figueiredo be the co-main event of Rio de Janeiro? I mean, he's
Right. Well,
Brazilian from Rio de Janeiro.
no, I get that. That's what I'm saying, though. It's like I understand that half of it. It just
Mhm.
seems that it's like I mean, I guess Montel Jackson makes sense if you're going to have like if Figueiredo is the name, if you're if he's coasting off of name recognition and you want him in a co-main event, then you need to have a guy who is at least somewhat on par competitively with like all of the dynamics wise. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like he is coming off of a big knockout win, so there is a little bit of justification in that. And Figueiredo being spotty, I guess, that sort of evens out in the middle somewhere. But it just seems that there could have been maybe a stronger, you could have probably found a different Brazilian, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, maybe.
But either way, okay. So, well, then who do you think is going to win?
I'm taking Figgy. I still believe taking Figgy at plus money is one of the smartest things you can do. This is a former UFC champion. He still has aspirations. Yeah, he's 37, but this is Montel Jackson we're talking about. This is Davison Figueiredo. Plus 250. Oh, yeah, take it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the thing about Montel Jackson's win, his knockout win last time, was that it was a late win, I believe. I think that it might have been third round or late second round. So it's like he had to go through a whole lot to find the knockout. Um, whether or not that's how you feel about that specifically is irrelevant. I mean, my point is that if he's not going to go out there running, gunning, and actually accurate enough to find the knockout early, Figueiredo, I mean, ground game all day long. I mean, this is a deal that he could easily keep this on the ground the entire fight, and Montel Jackson's not going to have the opportunity to land the knockout.
I would hope so, but I could see Figueiredo just standing and trying to counter strike like he always does with these big old nukes that he has for hands. So hopefully he's able to win this fight. That's all that I can really hope for. I don't know how he'll do it, but
Yeah, I don't know. My opinions about Figueiredo have definitely evolved, especially like over the time at bantamweight.
mhm.
It's been a mixed bag, and I will tentatively also go with that, especially for plus money. If you're talking about parlay potential, I mean, maybe you put that on a parlay that's your secondary, but I do think that there is value there. It's hard for me to like fully back that horse, I guess is what I'm saying, but I will go with him.
Yeah, hell yeah.
All right. Moving on, Vicente Luque versus Joel Alvarez. Joel Alvarez back, baby. Let's go.
At welterweight.
Oh yes, yes, that is the difference, isn't it?
Yep. So this one will be very good. I think Mr. Yoel Alvarez is going to beat Vicente Luque the fuck up. So
Yeah, every time that you think Vicente Luque is not going to win a fight, he does, and I will acknowledge that up front. But that being said, Joel Alvarez is a different animal. This
Hmm.
guy, I mean, he talk about like future stars of the sport. He's already becoming that, and I would say that anybody who's been paying attention probably already knows that. But if you don't know, you're going to know. This is going to be one of those situations where Joel Alvarez is going to not let his neck get taken, and because of that, he is going to land devastating shots. This dude has amazing power. He's very well rounded. He's actually one of my favorite fighters currently, I would say. I mean, like,
Nice.
absolutely. Aside from the fact that I got to see him get a knockout live, that is a secondary. He was already becoming one of my favorite fighters. To go back to the Elvis Brenner fight,
Hmm.
the way that he was navigating a fight like that tells you a lot of what you need to know about this guy. Like, he will pick you apart for as long as he needs to, and then he will knock you out.
Yeah.
So I will caveat that just to say that, as I said, Luque is a dude who, gets counted out almost every fight, it feels like, and has won a lot of those fights. So if you want to go Luque by submission, do it at your own risk. I think that Joel Alvarez is going to be savvy enough to know that that's the threat and will game plan accordingly and land some devastating shots. Get ready for fireworks.
Hell yeah.
And you're going with him too, right?
I'm taking Yoel. Yep.
There you go. All right. Jonathan Janice versus Mario Pinto is your next fight at heavyweight. What are you thinking about this one?
Jonathan Deniz probably will kickbox on the outside and look very good at it. The only problem is that he will probably win this fight that way, and it's gonna suck because we know Tybura is the person that was able to just fuck him over. Mario Pinto, though, if he's able to use, wow, they have the same reach. That's pretty crazy. I mean, I guess they're the same size, but I guess I just assumed Mario Pinto was gonna have some longer arms. But if he's able to somehow get crack this dude, I mean, that's really good because this is the last hope that I have for heavyweight prospects as of right now, especially when it comes to big old heavyweight sluggers. This guy right here was the last one that I put the chips in. That was before we had cement and we had that Australian guy, but this guy right here, this was the guy, so he better not come out.
Put some respect on Concrete's name, brother.
Yeah, my asphalt.
Yeah.
Asphalt.
Yeah, no, I mean, what we've seen out of Pinto is power, but not a lot of technique.
Correct.
What we've seen out of Janice is technique and a little bit of power. That's the problem here. I'm a little bit torn on this fight because Janice is definitely a more technically minded, I would say. I mean,
Hmm.
kickboxing is definitely his strong suit, and he'll do that. But it was a whole lot of kickboxing to a decision with our buddy Guzzi, and I mean, that does not scream elite to me. Now, of course, heavyweight is its own animal altogether, anyway. So you kind of throw all of your traditional perceptions out the window, but this is the division where a guy like Pinto with less technique could catch the shot and put him out. And we've seen him put out before. I mean, granted, the circumstances were different, but Pinto's got some pretty heavy hands. So, I mean, yeah, I'm on the fence about this. Pinto's, he's rocking with the O as well. And that it seems like if there's anybody who has a target on the O, it should be a guy like him because, with the circumstances that I was just outlining there, an undefeated fighter is going to get checked, especially at heavyweight. Somebody's going to be able to do it. Is Janice going to be the guy? I'm a little bit skeptical. So for those reasons, I will tentatively go with Pinto on this one. I know it's a little bit crazy because the technicality should be the thing, but that knockout power could be the thing as well.
I think, you said that it's not too impressive for Janice to be able to kickbox for 3 rounds around the outside. Now, he is 34, but, heavyweights and the ages don't really correlate too much. I think it actually is very impressive that he is a heavyweight kickboxer that can do it for 3 rounds. I mean, look at somebody like Surreal Gone. Ain't nothing different than that right there. If he can dance on the outside and he's a heavyweight, and you're just gonna have a big fat slob on the end of you that you can just punch for 3 to 5 rounds, I'm all for it. But the fact is, Janice, we've already seen you get taken down by Tybura and just again destroyed. So
Well, and my point was not that it's not impressive that he can kickbox for 3 rounds. That's fine. It was that he had to do it against Guzzi. That's the
That dude
issue.
was on PEDs. Let's be reminded.
It is a good point as well. It is a good point as well. So, I mean, take all of those things and swirl them around in your brain, and there is a conclusion in there somewhere. I think that really what this all boils down to for me is just that I don't have a ton of faith in Pinto,
Yeah,
and
I
that's
don't
the
either.
issue.
That's
But
why I would probably take Janice on this one.
and understandable, but I do think that power could win out here. So if he's able to land that shot, then early night for him.
Yeah, hopefully.
We'll see. So there's your difference. And as always, people, we are streaming to 2 separate channels here. Myself on Yama, Chase on his channel. Like the video that you think has the better takes from that person.
Hell yeah.
On down the card here, Ricardo Ramos versus Con Offley. Offley is one of our tough gentlemen. I'm correct about that, right?
Yes, you are. So expect him to miss weight potentially.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's certainly checking out based on your crack research there, Chase.
Yes.
But that aside, until we find that out, just on paper at least, what are you thinking about this?
I actually would take the dog money on this one because I've never been sold on Ricardo Ramos and Con O'Fly. I feel like might have an opportunity coming for him. If he can beat this dude who's not necessarily the greatest, it could get him in the win column. Plus, winning at a dog, it makes it seem more impressive. I think Con should get this done. Like I said, watch out for him to miss weight, and we'll see if he's going to go ahead and take a dub here.
All right, well, we will differentiate on this one as well. Ricardo Ramos is a veteran. This is a classic veteran versus new guy. I mean, dude who also, if you recall, lost on The Ultimate Fighter and still ended up in the organization. Does not bode well, in my opinion. Lost, I believe, inside the organization as well, unless this is his first one. But I think I might be thinking of the finale fight.
It was the finale, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean,
Oh no, sorry, he lost to Mohammed Naimov.
Okay, I see. I thought I remembered a loss in there as well. So yeah, I'm thinking that veteran skill is going to weigh out here. Khan is explosive. Like he does have good cardio, and he is going to go after it. Like this will probably be a really grindy fight, but I think that that veteran savviness will reign out. Ricardo Ramos has been around for a very long time, and yeah, not necessarily the greatest, but I'd say better. All right, well then there you go. All right, well if nothing else on that, then we'll move on. Lucas Almeida versus Michael Aswell, the underdog.
The Shark.
Yeah.
No, sorry, no, that's different. That's Mark 20s.
Mike Aswell is the dude who has the chin made of granite. If you recall, he's the dude that who's he fighting? He fought the dude, the heavy striker guy. We were just talking about him.
No
damn
fucking idea.
Oh my god.
Abdul Malik.
No. It was
no, these are featherweights. Holy shit! Yeah, that's a terrible guess.
Damn it!
Yeah, just go ahead and double check real quick.
Yeah,
sorry.
Blagioki. That's
nice.
Pardon me. Sorry, I forgot that. But yes, Blagioki worked him over with the striking, but he is a powerful striker. But Aswell taking every shot like a goddamn champion. Of course, Almeida not exactly that level of striker. We're gonna have to see what Aswell's ground game is like.
I actually disagree with you. This is going to be Lucas Almeida getting a knockout because I think if you recall, you were questionable if it was Michael Aswell having a great chin or if Blagioki just can't crack.
True.
And I think this is going to be a case where Lucas Almeida as dog money right here is pretty nuts because Michael Aswell only showed you that he can get punched in the face. Lucas Almeida, very skillful when it comes to the striking, very creative. I think he's going to put on a masterclass that gets a first round finish.
Who was Lucas's last opponent?
He lost to Danny Silva last.
So that being said, I mean, I would say that Danny Silva is a much more dynamic fighter than Aswell is. This is certainly going to be a test of whether or not Aswell can withstand that level of punishment, beyond Blagioki. And you make a good point there. That is a good thing to bring up, that I was questioning that. And I think that Blagioki going forward has shown us that I was somewhat accurate in that assessment. Time will tell kind of thing. I mean, it's like all that I'm seeing out of Aswell is a good chin. And you're right. That testing it a whole lot by letting yourself get punched in the face is not necessarily the greatest reflection of your acumen as a fighter overall. Almeida, I mean, it's like one of those situations where I'm like, kind of not really like putting too much stock into him in the grand scheme of things, but in this fight specifically, I think I will agree with your assessment.
Hell yeah.
So, all right, Lucas Almeida for both of us on that one. Moving on down to the prelims, Jafil Filio, the Preacher versus Clayton Carpenter. Don't particularly care for this fight. I don't know if this should be a featured prelim necessarily, but Jafel Filio, good with his submission, and he is a little bit of a chihuahua. He's going to be very snappy.
I'm just always confusing Clayton Carpenter with Francis Marshall. So I'm just going to go with Clayton because I think he may, if he's as good as Francis or if he's as decent, if I confuse them, maybe they're right, or maybe they just look like Jake Gyllenhaal too much or something. I don't know.
Not too far off. I mean, Clay Carpenter is good, not great, but he's still very early in his career. He's 8-1 right now. Filio much more experienced there at 16-4.
Yeah, but he sucked in his last performance.
Yeah, that is true. He's one of those guys that's like he's crafty until he hits the wall with the craftiness. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like there's a ceiling to the craftiness. I just don't think that Carpenter is going to be that ceiling. At least that's what my gut is telling me. So I'm going to go with Filio on this one. But as I said, I don't really particularly care for this fight. I think it's going to be kind of boring.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, so Filio by sub, it would be my ultimate conclusion if it's going to happen. If there's going to be a finish, that would be how I'd say it'll be.
Yeah.
All right. Next one I like a little bit more. This is Vitor Petrino versus Thomas Peterson. Of course, this is Petrino at heavyweight still, continuing on his heavyweight path. Looks like from that photo, I don't know if that's an updated photo, but it looks like he might have put on a little bit of bulk in heavyweight. And in his last fight, that sort of seemed that way. So him going up against Thomas the Train over here. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Thomas the Train is going to actually not be shite like Austin Lane. I'm going to go ahead and take Thomas Peterson. And I think he's actually going to finish this fight because Vitor Petrino is a true light heavyweight that we've seen. He wasn't able to compete with them. So I'm not going to necessarily think that he's going to compete with the heavyweights at what they do best, especially if he's coming in here trying to be a submission guy. Thomas Peterson is a submission guy at heavyweight, and he's young, and he's fat. Like I don't think you're going to get this dude down and submit him. So,
I mean, you say that like we didn't see Kennedy doing great things moving up.
yeah, but I don't think Vitor has the same frame or the same ceiling or the same skill set.
All right, hey, that's fair. Peterson, you are right. He is a wrestle dude. He's got wrestling game. He likes to use it. I mean, it's not one of those situations where it's like a back pocket thing for him. He will offensively wrestle. Petrino decent with that though, and decently powerful. I'm gonna go with Petrino on this one, man. I think that the heavyweight move is the right move for him. I had said that in the last fight. He looked pretty decent at heavyweight to me. I said, we do still need to see if the move up is going to be the thing or if he's just a dud overall. But got to win at heavyweight already. Peterson, I think he's got enough of a ground game to negate Peterson's wrestling if he tries to make that his game plan. And I think that there's probably enough power there that he can get by. Something tells me that this is going to be a decision.
Decision? Yeah, probably. It's heavyweights. We normally get those these days somehow, some way.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. These guys are that. You know what I'm saying? Like that class and caliber of heavyweight like screams to me from this. So if there's plus money on this fight going the distance, that might be the move for me.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I will take Petrino.
Oh god.
All right. Yes. Moving on down the line here. Bia Mesquita versus Irina Alekseeva. Bia Mesquita, I believe, is making her debut in the UFC. She is
holy
5-0.
shit, minus
Whoa,
750 for a fucking debut.
I mean,
oh
I guess.
My god, for somebody we don't even know who she is.
Yeah. What's the backstory here?
Wait a minute. So the last win before the last win before she got a knockout was a DQ by a legal knee.
Wow.
So technically she got her ass whooped. Then the person got disqualified, and then she came and knocked somebody out. Now she's a minus 750 against. All right, Alekseeva sucks. Yeah, I give you that. Uh,
That's what I was just going to say. I mean, really, it doesn't. The strength of the line is coming off of the Alexiva side. It's not necessarily the newcomer.
yeah, true, but she is a little game. I kind of liked her in her last fight. She kind of just ran forward and threw punches, and she got beat by that Claudia woman that you said was really bad.
Igula, yes. Now that you're saying that, yeah, I think that was the fight that I was saying. Like, it's unfortunate when, if I recall, that she got cut, and it was I was saying that like the optics of that fight were like a big factor in it. It wasn't necessarily. I mean, she did lose the fight, but like it wasn't necessarily like it was a knockdown drag out on one side. It
Mhm.
was more of a brawl than the numbers would lead you to believe. So yeah, I mean, Alexieva for what plus 475, throw a straight on it.
On women's MMA, I'll take that all day.
Yeah, I was for a newcomer coming in at that kind of a price tag. Yeah, I would if you're gonna bet on it at all, go for a straight on the dog, and if not, just sit back and watch.
Not betting on no damn mosquito.
She could there. That could be a cool nickname though. If she wins the fight, she'd be the mosquito, the mosquito mosquita.
There you go. I
I
like
did.
it.
I did. I think it does kind of slap. All right. Next up is Lucas Roca versus Stuart Nickel.
Who gives a fuck?
I
Oh
was gonna
god.
say,
They're flyweights, but they're the bottom tier of the flyweights that we care about. So
is Nickel a dude who is just coming in off of Contender series not too long ago? I want to say, maybe I'm right.
no, he had he had his debut and got submitted by Jesus Aguilar.
Ah, well, that doesn't scream very confident, does it?
He came from a promotion called Beatdown Promotions. And funny enough, he competed in the second, third, fifth, and sixth iteration of Beatdown Promotions.
Guarantee you, Beatdown Promotions was in somebody's backyard.
And well, yeah, I mean, look, he's from Australia. You can definitely take a guess if it was Dan Hooker's or not.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, Roca coming in with a 17-2 record here. I think that experience is definitely going to be a big factor with all of that. Now, I mean, Roca definitely not a name that's setting the world on fire either. As you said, this is low
Got
level.
subbed to Clayton Carpenter.
Yeah, all right. I mean, that. I guess that is a good point. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm gonna take Roca just because he's a Muay Thai guy on paper, but I can tell you that I don't remember him being a Muay Thai guy from watching him. So
Yeah, Muay Thai in name only. I would suspect. I will take him as well off of strength of depth of record,
mhm.
but this could be another. I mean, if Stuart Nickel is only 8-1, I mean, this could be another resume builder here. I mean, one that if he's that early in his career, there still is time to be like, oh, he started off one way, but now he's really coming into his own. So I'm going to need to see that before I put anybody in a category like that. So Stuart Nickel, prove me wrong, but until I get that proof, I'm going to go with Roca.
Yeah, we're taking Roca for sure.
Yeah. All right, so this is one that there was some conversation. Shout out to my buddy E-Money J, the big betting man. Walter Walker versus Mohammed Usman. Now, my buddy E-Money J came in saying Mohammed Usman dominated Hamdi, bro. This was a dominant performance from Mohammed Usman. Like, we didn't see Mohammed Usman sucking in 17 fights before that. Now, you're saying that you're going to take the strength of that performance and put it up against the heel hook legend Walter Walker, and that's supposed to be how I'm supposed to look at the fight too. Not a chance in hell. Walter Walker all day long, and I don't even care if he gets the heel hook or not. I just know that Muhammad Usman, I'm not sold based on a win over Hamdi.
Well, I am a not big believer in the numbers. If this dude has gotten three heel hooks in a row, a very unorthodox, a very hard submission to get. If he's done it three times in a row, surely he's not going to get four. What I will say is when I saw Muhammad Usman's name get attached to a fight with Walter Walker, I did immediately say, you may as well give him the fourth heel hook in a row because this guy is not going to stop it.
I believe that this is actually fifth or would be fifth. I think he has four.
No, it's
No,
three.
is it three?
Yeah.
Really? Oh, okay. I thought it was four. Anyway, all right, fair enough. But yeah, I mean, I would agree. I mean, look, the same move that worked in his last fight to get that heel hook, that crazy drop move that he does, Muhammad Usman's ripe for it. He's slow. He's plotty. He's not a dynamic heavyweight. He's got so much muscle on the frame. Another dude, he's big for nothing. And so it's like a win over Hamdi. Yeah, I mean, he certainly did win that fight. He definitely took the fight to him because he knew that he could. Hamdi let him do it. I mean, like Walter Walker is going to go out there in a way that Muhammad Usman's going to get flustered by. It's going to be a fight like that Muhammad Usman has not had before. He's used to guys being plotty as well. He's used to the Thomas Petersons of the world. So, yeah, I mean, I think Walter Walker is a slam dunk on this one. Minus 330 rings so true to me. It's a little bit hefty of a price tag for for a straight or anything like that, but I think that Walter Walker is definitely parlay worthy here.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Next up is Julia Pilastri versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz, who how she's still kicking around this sport is crazy to me. She's been around forever, ever. This might even be one of her last fights, I would think.
Probably, and I'm gonna go ahead and say that Pilastri is gonna get this dub. I'm not the biggest fan of her. I will admit she is very attractive. You'll definitely notice that in this fight when she gets on. But what you will be able to notice is that she lost 3 rounds to Lupe Godinez, but in the third round, she actually looked like she was still game to fight. So what I would like to say is no matter what, Pilastri is going to be able to put on a winning performance, whatever round it has to be. And she's going up against somebody who's 39. I think this is going to be the coming out party for Pilastri. They had to have noticed that after the performance with the Godinez that like people are interested in her. Like she's got a little aura to her, nicknamed Psycho. I mean, we got to see what that's about, So I think this is an easy one for Pilastri.
Yeah, I agree. I do remember what you're talking about there, Pilastri. She is a scrapper. I wouldn't say that she's necessarily like 100% technical phenom in any regard. Obviously, that's why Lupe was able to do what she did. But she is game definitely. She's gonna bring it to her. We were just talking about Yana Santos earlier. Karolina is not that. You know what I mean? She's not one of those women who has grown into the sport and it is, improving fight over fight, even in later stages. She's always been pretty spotty. She's always been checkerboard, very much a candy cane record. I think this is probably going to be, as you described, a pretty solid win for Pilastri and probably among the last Kowalkiewicz fights that we're gonna see.
Hell yeah.
Kowalkiewicz, I guess is how you pronounce it. But either way, I think that
Kowalki talkie.
yes, Miss Walkie Talkie is going to be shut off after this one. And your final fight, starting the thing off, is Luan Lacerda versus Simon Oliveira. Pardon me.
Yeah, no, this is Teabag from Prison Break. I don't know if you've caught on to that yet.
Yes, indeed. Yes, I do remember Rwand to be having that assessment as well. So what do you think?
Don't even know who Luan Lacerda is. I know Simon Oliveira just got knocked out by David Martinez, who's a decent prospect coming up. Shout out Mexico. But Simon, if you want to go out here and lose again by knockout, that'd be cool. But if not, your opponent doesn't look like he's going to impress me too much. So I'll just be able to laugh that Teabag from Prison Break is fighting. That's about all that I'll have for this.
Yeah, I mean, I'll kind of tentatively agree with the assessment. I take it back. I'm going with Oliveira on this one. I think that a loss to Martinez that we just saw, he skyrocketed himself in the last performance that he had. Probably one of those situations where you get fed to a killer and it makes you look worse than you actually are.
Oliveira's on a 3-fight losing streak. Lacerda is on a 2-fight losing streak, and he's never won in the UFC as well.
So there you go. It's a battle of two dudes who kind of both are not great. So take the less not great guy, even with 3 losses, at least it's 3 UFC caliber losses.
True, and I would like to believe that this fight will not be the first fight of the night. I think the women right above it will shift down because UFC loves putting the women at the first fight of the night.
Yeah,
Luan Lacerda, unless you're some Brazilian legend that I don't know about, but we'll see.
Yeah, nah, I don't think either of these guys are Brazilian legends. But that being said, I think that I will go with Oliveira and stay away from betting on this fight.
Hell yeah, definitely.
Well, we will find out all of the outcomes of these fights as we will be watching them on our individual watch alongs. Of course, you can find me and the Vitz King now at youtube.com/@Yama Show. Chase, I know you can tell them where they can find you.
They will find me streaming every Saturday. There's UFC, and Tuesday that there's Contender Series. We don't have too much more of that. And then, of course, every Friday morning when there is one Championship Friday fights at youtube.com/@CP Smalls. And yeah, make sure you guys are all doing your best to go watch that Smashing Machine review that we had took so much time and dedication to get the film watched and reviewed for you guys. So please, once again, make sure to watch the Smashing Machine review 2025.
Absolutely. I second that entirely. I will be here for the Contender Series as well. And I also strongly encourage you, if you are around on a Friday morning, to hang out with my boy Chase for those one championship fights, because there is some good stuff going on in one always. Very entertaining fights over there. And Chase is there to watch them all with you. So do all of that. I am also at Yama Show on Twitter and Instagram. And yeah, of course, tomorrow, as I said, Contender Series, we will be live once more. And I'm going to try to get some additional content out this week as well. So keep an eye on the channel. Do as Chase said, watch the Smashing Machine review, and all of that good stuff always coming out on both of our individual channels. So until we see you in the next one, everybody, have a great rest of your night, a great rest of your week. And as always, fight on.